his Winston Cup championship lead as much as he's gotten tonight. Glad you're with us. The night race at Bristol is under green.
Mark Martin got to the bottom right away. That's what you want to do here at the beginning of the race. You've got to get to the bottom. If you get hung out, it's like being hung out in a trap to Talladega. You're going to lose a lot of spots.
And Ryan Newman is right now the losee.
Squeezed in.
He's somehow squeezed down.
So Jeff Gordon leads, Mark Martin second, Mike Skinner third, Michael Waltrip fourth, Kurt Busch is fifth. Then you got Ryan Newman back in sixth after, well, that's where he started. He was in sixth place. Ted Musgrave, Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, and Kenny Wallace. First side-by-side, Terry Labonte and Tony Raines, and that's for 13th and 14th.
Tony needs a break right now. He needs to get down. These guys will all start closing up in behind him, and he's about to lose a lot of positions right here.
1, 2, well, there's about 20 of them lined up to his inside. Oh, made him a hole. Jimmy Johnson running in 14th spot. One of the guys that shuffled underneath Tony Raines. I guess one of the things, big trouble front stretch. Steve Park, Kyle Petty, Todd Bodine got a piece of it, and I believe Christian Fittipaldi did also.
Man, oh man.
Well, that took 6 laps. And that'd be the second car of the weekend for Steve Park, who had a practice crash here on Friday, yesterday.
Okay, let's see who should be mad here.
Well, we see Todd Bodine, the 54 car, and looks like Jeff Green gets in the back of the 30. Jeff Green in the 1 gets in the back of Steve Park, and up the hill he goes. Into the wall, and Kyle Petty.
I think Todd is going to get into Kyle here, trying to avoid Steve Park.
Yeah.
Locked him up, got bumped by Casey Mears, clunk. So that didn't take long. The first angry drivers of the night have been found here at Bristol.
It's no surprise the Home Depot.
nothing I could do. I got run into from behind. I saw it happening. Yeah, it looks like Casey got me from behind there, but just one of those deals at Bristol, nothing you can do about it. It's a shame for National Guard and his crew. We had a really good car. We were 13th in happy hour, really good on old tires. Everything you need at Bristol to run up front. Unfortunately, now we're behind the wall, National Guard Ford.
Spectacular wreck last week, early wreck this week. Dave?
30 car of Steve Park thought they could go ahead and fix the toe, get it back out there. He realized they couldn't. They're going to have to replace, among other things, a left side tie rod and a center link. Those are suspension parts. Steve's going to be in here a while. Alan?
All right, Dave, thanks. 1 to go here is the signal. They'll go back under green next time. Here's our NASCAR Busch Series update. Michael Waltrip with a little bump and run move on Ron Hornaday last night to take a win here at Bristol. Championship, Scott Riggs opening up a little bit of a lead on David Green. They run at Darlington this Saturday. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series update. Travis Kvapil passed Kevin Harvick when Harvick blew a right front tire, leading, coming to the white flag here Wednesday night. Kvapil with his first win of the season and holding on to a very slim lead in the Truck Series championship standings. They're up again at Richmond 1 week from Thursday night, and we're coming to the green flag. Jeff Gordon, the 17th race at Bristol that he's led in 22 career starts.
And BP, here's where the guys in the back got to really stand their toes, because now they're all strung out. They're getting the green here on the start-finish line when there's guys still on the backstretch. So
Yeah, that's right. They're 43 long now, not 22 rows.
You know, Robbie Loomis told me this afternoon this was a situation he was hoping for. He hoped they get an early caution, get the field lined up single file for a restart so they could try and put a bunch of guys a lap down early. Those fewer people you have to race with for the win later.
It's working perfectly so far. And I was surprised during that caution flag. I did not see a lot of those guys that threw the field go in and make any adjustments, but maybe 5 or 6 laps was not enough to really find out what the car was going to do.
yeah, I don't think they even had their pressures built up yet in those 4 or 5 laps that they had. So probably would really be second guessing themselves on what the chassis is doing without having the tire pressures up yet.
Only guys that pitted under the caution were the guys who got some damage in the accident. Christian Fittipaldi, Casey Mears, pitted. Kyle Petty and Todd Bodine are behind the wall, as is Steve Park. Michael Waltrip, Kurt Busch, 15 and 97. That's the race for 4th and 5th. With lots of company from behind. Ryan Newman and Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt Jr. all stacked up tightly there together.
You cannot make a mistake when you're driving on this place. I mean, you are looking at the car ahead of you, and you have to be perfect, because if you make one slip, especially this time of the race, when everybody is nose to tail, and you slide up the racetrack, you're going to lose a lot of spots.
There's going to come a point in the night where the lane will widen out a little bit.
A little bit.
Unlike a lot of tracks where you'll see guys running the higher lane, searching for better handling, you just won't see that here.
No, what you'll see is you'll see guys kind of diming the racetrack. They'll go in the corner right here, then you'll see them slide up the racetrack. They'll let the car take a bite, then they get on the gas and they drive back down the racetrack. So you're not going to see, like you say, Ellen, you're not going to see guys running that high line up along the wall like you see at Michigan or places like that.
Talked about Kyle Petty being behind the wall, Dave.
Yeah, and he has worse damage than Steve Park. Right now they're trying to loosen up that left front suspension area. That whole wheel assembly and spindle got jammed up in there, and they're trying to be careful because that spring is now loaded in there.
Yeah, so they break the thing loose and...
That'd be a surprise.
Yeah, yikes.
Like Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nothing the driver hates for to have to come back on any racetrack, but especially this place, with a tore-up race car and just try to drive around and make up for some points.
Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin have sailed away from the pack for now. This is the race for 3rd on back.
I can't really tell who's holding who up in this group. Ricky Rudd just was trying to make a move on Ryan Newman in the 12 car, so obviously his car a little bit faster, but is Michael the guy holding him up? Is Kurt Busch? Is it Ryan?
Might just be that Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin are that much faster.
It could be all these cars are running exactly the same speed, and you're right, those guys are driving away.
But it's not going to be long before Gordon catches the tail end of the field, and then these guys are going to be right back up on his bumper.
Oh, Nemechek got way out of the groove over there in turn 1. And Jeff Gordon is, I mean, he's gaining some ground here on Tony Raines, who started 12th. So Tony went from 12th to dead last in 24 laps.
Tony can't keep his car at the bottom of the racetrack in the corners, and they were freight train under him like we were talking earlier.
Yep.
So when Jeff Gordon gets to him, he'll have that inside lane open to try and duck in. Checking back again. There was Mark Martin, and now that race for third.
Yeah, Michael's giving a lot of pressure to Skinner right here.
Great qualifying run for Mike Skinner. I mean, they were 42nd in practice and came out and put the 01 car in fourth on the grid.
Well, Junior was trying to get on the inside of Ricky Rudd off turn 4, could not quite make it.
And a lot of times what you'll do here is you'll pull down into the left lane and let the guy think that you're there. And if he hesitates just a little bit, then you fill that hole. And that's what a lot of times you see a lot of cars pull out and hoping that the driver in front of you will just hesitate that second.
Ted Musgrave subbing for Jimmy Spencer in the 7, getting the Bristol shuffle. Got nudged up into that outside lane, and about 4 of them went by him. Musgrave now back to 13th spot before he gets back in line. So Jeff Gordon closing in on the tail end of the field to start to put some cars a lap down. He's led all 29 laps that have been completed so far in the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
The power is in your hands.
Back with room.
tonight than to win the race, and spin around and do the old Kawicki Polish victory lap in Alan's memory here tonight.
See, Earnhardt Jr. going by Ryan Newman. Here comes Matt Kenseth. Battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Ricky Craven trying to follow these guys through in a tide ride.
After Ryan, the lack of luck or success he's had here at Bristol, he just wants these guys to pass him without getting bumped and spun around. Backing into the fence. Shoveling it up behind him. Jimmy Johnson trying to move through. Now Kenny Wallace up out of the bottom lane. 23 car.
Boy, and you can see when you're up in the bottom lane, there just isn't a grip up there. Very hard to hold your position, let alone it's almost impossible to pass a guy up there.
Tony Stewart by Kenny Wallace for 13th. Dave Blaney working on Kenny there now.
Yeah, that red, white, and blue car is Blaney. Different paint job.
All right, there you go. He got slid in. But when you see a guy up in that high lane, you hurry up and try to get behind the other guy as close as you can because you want to keep that car up there to gain that spot.
Michael Waltrip stood up at the drivers' meeting a couple hours before the green flag and said, I want everyone tonight to wish Kenny Wallace a happy 40th birthday. So now all of his competitors know that Kenny turned 40 today.
Now, how's Rusty going to say, happy birthday, little brother?
Get out of my way.
Exactly.
Coming through.
And he may give him a present he doesn't want.
That's what I was thinking.
Kenny in 15th, Rusty in 16th. That's Kevin Harvick right behind them in the black and silver 29.
Look, Kenny giving him room.
Look at those brakes already on Rusty's car. The rotor's cherry red.
So Rusty through and Harvick through. So that'll give Rusty 15th spot, Harvick 16th, and Kenny Wallace now left to fight with Robbie Gordon for 17th.
Not much of a fight.
Not much you can do. Talking about brakes, BP. How about a look at Kenny Wallace's car?
Yeah, that red that you see is the brake rotor over in this area. And look how much this tire deflects down here when the car goes in the corner. He comes off the straightaway, it straightens up, he gets to the corner. Look how it's trying to roll that tire off the rim.
To give you an idea of just how rough this Bristol track is, watch that suspension move. I mean, the drivers are taking a beating inside the car here, not just from the G-forces, but from the racetrack. So Kenny Wallace now back to 20th spot. He is about a half a lap behind Jeff Gordon, the race leader. Gordon out in front, all 54 laps so far, trying to put Sterling Marlin in 34th place, one lap down.
Clear. Everybody spin on the backstretch. Caution south. Racetrack is clear. Race. Pause. Windshield's fine. Don't need a water. Pound of air, track bar. Got 4 tires.
Here we go.
I think everybody just checked up because Burton got a little bit loose there. And then it's the typical old accordion effect here at BP. Everybody checked up, and we didn't see the contact on that shot there between Jason Leffler and Greg Biffle, but it was a pretty good hit.
How about Leffler into Wimmer?
Yeah, that's Wimmer got Biffle.
And look at all the cars
down, hits the wall hard on the inside.
Watch all the cars just in front of Jeff Gordon when they came ripping through there. They were about to get lapped. What a huge break for Sterling Marlin and some others.
Oh, I see why Jeff Burton got loose.
Yeah, now I do too.
Biffle got in the back of him, and when he backed off,
yeah,
Wimmer didn't.
And Jeff Gordon let Joe Nemechek, his teammate, get that lap back.
And here come all the leaders onto pit road, Dave.
Alan Mike Skinner has the very first pit stall on pit road. His car just a little bit tight, a half a pound out of the right rear, but they're going to raise the track bar just a little bit to help that car be a little bit freer. Marty?
Dave, Michael Waltrip has a pit stall on the other end of pit road on the back stretch. His car a little bit loose off, pound out of the right rear. They also make a wedge adjustment. That's why they take that first stall. A very quick stop for the 15 bunch. Bill?
Mark Martin is here, has an excellent pit stall. Easy in, should be easy out. Earnhardt Jr. in front of him. They told him he was the fastest car on the track. This is 4 tires, no changes for the 6 car Mark Martin. Matt.
Pole sitter Jeff Gordon already in. They pull a piece of tape off the front. Water a little warm. Gordon said the car was loose off. He just couldn't get the throttle like he wanted. So they made an air pressure adjustment on the tires to try to help that. The 12 car will be Gordon out.
Nobody's going to beat Michael Waltrip out. Marty talked about Waltrip having that first pit spot at the end of the backstretch pit road. He was out by a bunch in the lead. He came in 7th. So we're under caution for the second time in the Sharpie 500 here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Negative. Okay, bud, go ahead and get past it. And the 31 will be pretty warm under this caution. Running it in second. 10-4. All right, bud, it's going to be 1 to go. When you get around here, 1 to go. Guys took fuel only, and I know 3 of them took 2 for right sides only. Buddy. cars off. Got the 74 coming up to you. And the 16 also. Green flag, green flag.
No, it's okay. Don't hang up. Plan.
Family talk with rollover. Another.
Clear, Robbie. Is the last cut at the bottom of my head. And back to the 8 with the room. And inside at your quarter and clear. Bumper and clear.
On Jeff Green by Ryan, and mega pressure on Ryan Newman by Jeff Gordon.
Oh, Newman can't hang on to it. And here comes the field.
Man, oh man.
He's mad.
Don't hit him. Don't hit him. There you go.
How many we up to? We haven't been keeping track.
All right, wait a minute now. We had 4 in the first one.
Right.
3 in the second one. No, wait, 99, 16. 4 in the second one.
So this is
9 now.
That'd be 9 mad guys.
Do you agree with my math there?
Oh man. I will on this one, yeah.
Thank you. Ryan Newman racing for second a minute ago. Now he's trying to gather it back up and get back going in the right direction. He and Jeff Gordon making contact, bringing out the 3rd caution here at Bristol. How you doing?
Good.
Right, 2 down right now.
Robbie, just be cool. You'll get them back. I promise you. Just when they give it one to go, get up there. Whenever they give one to go here, Jeff Green don't have as good a tires as you, and he's leading the race.
About not pitting it off. Open for lead lap. Stay in front of me on 1 lap down.
I think 16 maybe.
Oh, you'll take the green at lap 80. Hey, bud, clean him up, get you a good start here. One to go.
Got something to say? Grab a new metallic.
Okay, 3 more coming to 50, 41, and 31 coming under here. Cars off. Green, green. You're all clear. Clear, all clear. First one's at 41 right in front of you. You're all clear. Clear low if you need it, clear low. Still there, clear, clear. There, clear, clear. Got him. Yeah, didn't mean to.
I'm sure that doesn't make Ryan feel any better.
No, I mean, it didn't look intentional. I mean, they're all according up there. You can kind of tell when there's an accord, you know, when it's on purpose or not.
Hey, Dave, that 29 car is looking good right now.
And BP, a lot of it for Kevin Harvick is confidence, according to Todd Barrier, part of this crew chiefing team for Kevin. Trouble there. And according to, Kevin this week almost won the truck race, and then he finished fifth last night in the Busch race. And Barrier told me when this guy is confident, he is worth a ton on this racetrack. And look at him go.
Kevin Harvick started in 23rd position. They took 2 tires on the pit stop, got him up toward the front. Now he's trying to take the lead away from Jeff Gordon. So Harvick is happy right now.
Well, he's trying to catch him first here.
All right, here we go. Ryan Newman trying to work his way back to the front. Hey, Matt, is Borland hot or what?
Well, he's watching his race car.
Trouble! Michael Waltrip. Oh, he gets clobbered as Rusty Wallace had no place to go with Waltrip coming down the track right into his path. Greg Biffle, Tony Raines getting laps back from Jeff Gordon. Michael Waltrip, 5th in the championship standings, racing for the 9th position.
Now there's one angry guy right there.
We got more mad people.
Yeah, he is really mad.
Who's he mad at?
We're going to find out just in 1 second. As soon as he can get out and show his displeasure.
At whoever he's mad at.
That's right. He's going to show us. No, he's not. Man, is he, because he had a great race car. They came up here, they tested. They really felt like tonight could be their night. Rusty's out of his car. It's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, Wally, you talked about in Wally's World this being a self-cleaning racetrack, and things that happen on the track were going to end up at the bottom.
Yep, you want to, a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, you want to go above the crash if you're seeing it from here, because the cars always slide back down the racetrack.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And I see why Michael was so upset. He was upset at himself.
Yeah.
Because he caught too much of the apron, and I think, and lost the car.
Yeah, we'll watch him here as he goes down into turn 3. He drops down, hits that apron, gets the car loose, and bam, and then the big bam. Oh, that was our camera.
And the lights went out.
So caution is out for the 4th time in the Sharpie 500. Michael Waltrip.
Gonna go right over here, guys, behind this silver van.
still got a little loose as I was running there, but it definitely has better traction off the corner than that first set.
You look pretty good out there. It looks like tires are going to be a little bit of an issue.
Michael Waltrip was racing for 8th position with Jeff Green into turn 3 and 4.
And here comes Rusty Wallace and plows into that 15.
Michael Waltrip has finished every race so far this season.
His wife Buffy's watching. I don't think he's going to finish tonight, Alan.
No. Marty?
And he's very disgusted. Michael, what happened?
Just ran out of room. Jeff squeezed me down a little bit, and I hit the apron and got loose. So just unfortunate. We got 2 tires, and the car was a little tight for a few laps. But it was coming around. I got under Jeff, and, you know, I just got squeezed in a little bit tight and just messed up. Jeff's doing his job, and just hate it for Rusty and hate it for our whole Napa team. Everybody's doing such a great job this year. It's a shame to have a setback like this, but we can go win Darlington, and this won't seem near as important.
This team has made very few mistakes this year. They haven't had a DNF since last year at Richmond.
Going to be a little bit more time cleaning this thing up. Pit road has been closed so far, so let's take a break. Under caution.
Yeah, it definitely makes it run hard under caution running next year like that. All right, 10-4.
You are watching the Sharpie 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway on NASCAR in Car on In Demand.
One to go, buddy. One to go.
$6 million for it.
Now that's a good investment, I hear.
Yeah. It seated 71,000 at the time. Speedway Motorsports bought it. 7 years later, 164,000.
As a matter of fact, you and I rode up the elevator today with one of the original builders of this racetrack, Carl Moore, he and Larry Carrier.
Yep. But kind of watching what's going on with Robbie Gordon there, Bill. What's up?
Well, when he pitted, Alan, he started to pull out, got stuck behind the 4. When he stopped, his brakes locked up. They pushed him back and forth to try and get the brakes to work. They got him out, then the pedal went all the way to the floor. He was out on the track, said it's starting to get better, it's starting to get better. Make a long story short, they think a lug nut might have got stuck in the rotor, then worked its way out. Now he's got to work his way back to the lead lap.
Yeah, Robbie's in 35th place. He's a couple of laps down. Where is it? Richmond? Last year, he made up like 2 laps this spring and got a 4th place finish out of it.
And he's coming there. He's making a move on Skinner. So, I mean, he's wanting to be at least close enough where if something happens, he can get back by Jeff Gordon before the start finish line, get the lap back.
Just past 100 laps. Jeff Gordon leads. Kevin Harvick 2nd. Mike Skinner 3rd. Mark Martin 4th. Ricky Rudd 5th.
Ooh. Oh, 3 wide.
Oh. Larry Foyt bumped by Jeff Green. Here we go.
Close to 3 wide just doesn't work.
No, we got another car spinning in the back.
Joe Nemechek.
And he gets hit by...
that was Bill Elliott.
And Elliott got hit by someone.
Now watch Robbie Gordon.
Robbie Gordon trying to get it back, but I don't think Jeff Gordon is going to give it to him back. Do you think?
No. So there we go. Spotters telling the drivers the cars are all off the track in the accident site, and they race back around to the caution.
I don't think Robbie was going to get, or Jeff was going to give Robbie that back.
There's that whole gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, well, these two had a discussion about that.
Yes, they did.
A little while ago.
Well, that one didn't take long to come out. 3 wide does not generally work well here at Bristol, nor does it work well when one car gets run into the backup by another. Larry Foyt in the spin cycle along with Joni.
Guys. Remain calm here. Okay, remember, think whatever you think. Don't say it out loud. All I said was Jeff is gay. Yes, I beat the 41 back. Tell him up there, Bo. Yes, sir. I beat the 41 back. Hamlin, they said you have to ask. Back.
they said the 41 and the 31.
Made it. Jamie McMurray with the camera on the nose of the Texaco Haviland car.
What a great camera shot.
Oh, and Dave Blaney just squeezed by. Back to green flag.
Casey Mears, lap car to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Race leader not able to get around him and get back on the lead lap. 31 cars on the lead lap. Pit stops under this caution. Ryan Newman, McMurray, Joe Nemechek, Johnny Benson, Bill Elliott, and Larry Foyt. We're all in.
These guys need to run some laps, BP, because we're hearing a lot of overheat.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of cars are warm.
And at 35 miles per hour, the speed that the pace car runs, they just don't get enough air through the grill to keep them cool.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, 7th and 8th places.
Did you see Kenseth drive up on the outside of Junior, trying to go by on the outside?
I think he's trying to keep from getting freight trained after Junior got under him.
Going to lose a spot.
Jimmy Johnson, 48, under Kenseth for 8th. Here comes Kurt Busch. There's Jeff Green in the 1. Dale Jarrett in the 88. Creeping into the picture. On board the big brown truck. Dale Jarrett started in 27th spot. Took just right side tires on his pit stop.
Here's the eyeball cam. Back from popular demand from yesterday.
Oh, that was a great camera last night. On board with Jeff Fuller.
Jeff got spun out twice in the NASCAR Busch Series race, and we had replays from this view, and you could see his eyes darting around and getting all big. It was really cool.
See Dale Jarrett grinning and bearing it. The physical racetrack, boy, I'll tell you what. You'll wore out after a race here.
When those lights come across that visor, you see those eyes looking left out ahead of him around the corner as far as he can.
And that's not very far here.
So DJ picking up some track position in the early going. Sean Parker making the 2-tire call. And Jarrett now racing in 12th position, trying to get 11th away from Jeff Green. Gordon, Kevin Harvick separating themselves from the pack up front while we watch the racing back in traffic. Here's Kurt Busch trying to get 8th from Jimmy Johnson.
And Matt Kenseth's going to try to do the same thing. Ooh, that was close. That is close. And here's where it really gets close off his second corner.
Now Jimmy Johnson said, okay, take it,
Uncle.
And smart, because he gave him a spot, got back in line, and didn't lose 4 or 5 other positions, because there's a bunch of guys lined up behind him ready to train him back.
And you know, thinking about Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green, when you're the guy on the inside, that can not work out for you also.
You get squeezed too much, and just like Michael, go down and touch that apron.
Not a whole lot of room for error here. What's going on with the 48 car, Dave?
Well, first of all, they were tight from the center out the corner, so they raised the track bar on it. But they didn't like that too much. Now he's a little tight in. They want to kind of reverse that next time they come back down pit road.
Yeah, and tight in at this place will get worse. Usually, more rubber you put down, the car doesn't want to turn down into the bottom of the racetrack. So tight in is something that you kind of want to stay away from if you can.
Marty, how's Matt Kenseth doing?
The car's a little bit loose, BP, but Wally talked about cars overheating here at Bristol. One of them is a 17, water 240 under the caution, oil 270, a little bit of a concern, but they need these green flag laps. Matt.
Kurt Busch running in the 8th position right ahead of his teammate. Earlier in the race, he just could not feel the tail of the race car. Made a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. The car is starting to come to him. A former Bristol winner would like to have something good happen here to end the week on a very good note, Bill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been running hot, especially under caution, like you guys upstairs were talking about. Under green, he said the car is pretty decent, a little tight when he's running up high. Said he learned a lot last
Martin Truex Jr., who drove the Chance 2 car for Dale Jr. and Teresa Earnhardt in last night's NASCAR Busch Series race. You know, the overheating thing, we've heard a couple guys refer to that. Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth now, Dale Jr. The pace speed here at Bristol is only 35 miles an hour. We run a lot of laps behind the pace car.
Matt, Ricky Craven had a pretty good night.
He sure is, Benny, looking for his first top 10 on the short tracks in 2003. Not a lot of radio conversation tonight to his team, but he did say the car was a tick tight on that first stop. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right front. It seems to have helped that tied race car.
Ricky Craven with a very good run so far tonight here at Bristol. Started 14th up to 6th.
Yeah, obviously, Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, gets on the inside of Jeff Green, and Wally Green now is going to get on the outside and going to lose position after position.
Ted Musgrave by in the 7.
Tony Stewart, Blaney, and the list goes on.
Looks like, yeah. There's Blaney, Ken Schrader coming through. One car getting shuffled back, Dave.
Yeah, Alan, and they have not pitted yet. Just talked with Tony Gibson, his crew chief. They want to employ a two-stop strategy. Remember, they started way back, moved to the front, took the lead, but the car has been tight. They've not adjusted on it yet. And now the tires are old.
And now the leader's going to start to be coming up on him as he's only about a straightaway behind him. Jeff Gordon with Kevin Harvick right in tow, beginning to work through the end of the field. They're right up on Johnny Benson's back bumper. He's the last one on the lead lap in that 10 car, and he'll try and put the 31st place runner a lap down.
Saw a little smoke coming out of the back of the 31 car. Yeah, it's smoking a lot now. Robbie Gordon.
Okay, keep an eye on that. Jeff Gordon.
Oh, is there ever? Look at the back of this singular car.
Clear. Hey, Robbie, they're black flagging us for smoking. Can you smell anything? No, nothing at all. Saw your gauge.
What do you think? If that rear end? Or?
Oh, man. It's getting worse and worse. It looks like the rear gear.
Yeah.
Are you going to bring it in?
It'll be the gear, Hamlet. It'll be the rear end.
Gotta be.
Richard Childress there. Talking to his driver and his crew chief, Kevin Hamlin.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it out. Robbie doesn't know what it is. They think it might be a gear in the back, but it doesn't smell like it down here.
All right, so next lap, Robbie Gordon is going to see the black flag with the white cross, which means they will not be scoring him anymore until he answers the black flag.
Sides of the tires look like they're wet.
Yeah, looks like
there's oil on them.
Right here, 43.
All right, so Robbie Gordon answering the black flag here. And that $1 million appears to be safe. Bill?
Well, he's here. A tremendous amount of smoke out of the rear end of the car. And then as he comes to the stop, of course, they've got a fire under the left front. It's a brake fire. They put the tire on. They've still got a lot of smoke billowing out of the left rear wheel well. NASCAR officials are watching them. They wanted them to check underneath the car. They're trying to stop them from leaving. They want to look at the fluid on the racetrack. Bobby's going to go around and come back.
Yeah, he's going to drive it behind the wall there. Got his window net down, so he's not going far.
Well, Cindy. Sorry.
There it is. Go right. Go right up on up here, pull left. Right there where the official is, right here.
Be careful, guys. Need a fire vital. It's going to be hot, and it'll flame up when you take the gear out. Gear! Somebody get out of gear! Oh, what you're doing. Stay with that 42. Stay with the 42. Clear. Out of way, buddy. Out of way. 32 still there. 32 still there. Up behind you if you need it. Up right there if you need it. Clear low, all clear.
Jeff Gordon has led 1 in 5 laps that he's ever run here in his Winston Cup career. He's led 132 of the 148 tonight.
You know, being teammates is about more than just helping each other win races every week. It's also about helping each other learn.
That's right. Michael has taught me that Napa parts are as good or better than...
Slow on the bottom. Clear low. That away. That's a Dale Earnhardt pass right there. Awesome job. Slowing on the top up here. Top. Clear. Clear all around, bud. Pick up over here, turn right in the middle. I got my right front fender just a little bit. Can you see it? Well, I just barely hit.
Okay. That was interesting.
That was real interesting. I haven't seen it yet, but I bet you a lap car has
I think right here, believe it or not, I think the trouble started with Matt Kenseth. He may have I think the right rear tire is flat on Kenseth's car. He slowed off turn 2 and jammed all the cars up behind him. What a break for Kenseth.
Yeah.
Marty.
Boy, BP, if you ever wonder if the championship is destined for Matt Kenseth, he just called the team, said, I have a flat right rear, I'm coming to you on pit road, and that's what jacked up all the traffic, brought out the caution. Now he gets to pit under the caution and won't go a lap down.
All right, let's go back and reconstruct what happened. Watch Matt Kenseth.
Here he comes off the corner, and these cars behind him much faster than Kenseth, and here Kurt Busch gets in the back of the 41 car, and Tony Stewart gets. Who's that?
Everybody got
hooked with Joe Nemechek.
Joe Nemechek.
And I don't know what happened way back there with Bobby.
Now watching the top right, there's Christian Fittipaldi smoking.
That happened way back further.
All right, pit stops, Dave.
First stop for Kevin Harvick, 2 tires, this time 4, just a little bit loose up off the corner. Air out of both rear tires to fix that. Marty?
So Matt Kenseth, his pit road, running in the 8th position. He'll stay on the lead lap here. Pound into the right front tire. The car loose for Matt right now, especially off of the corner, Bill.
A track bar adjustment to make Mark Martin's car just a little bit tighter. In fact, they do it with wedge. A wedge adjustment, you want to be just a tick tighter. 4 tires, no other changes. Matt.
And Jeff Gordon comes to a stop in his pit box. He said the race car, awesome. Robbie Lewis calls for just a 4-tire change, sticker tires going on. As Adam Davis hits the Lux in the left front, no changes. It's a 29, and the 01 will beat the 24 off. A little bit of trouble on the left front. A number of cars are going to beat Gordon on.
Jeff going to come out 4th. Kevin Harvick, Mike Skinner, and Ricky Craven get off pit road before Jeff Gordon, who led going in. Let's have a look at this.
Never see Bobby Labonte trying to avoid hitting other cars, backing in the fence.
And watch Johnny Sauter and Jeff Gordon.
Just hit him barely, but
on board with Kurt Busch.
doesn't take much.
Hold on, I'm going outside.
Jimmy Johnson.
It's apron, buddy. Come on. Come on. Clear height. Caution's out, buddy. Great job, Jimmy.
6th caution of the night is out at Bristol.
Center.
Server Bill.
You are on the 97. I will get you left here ready.
Move this, okay. This bounce pretty hard back there, and I don't think this is going to hurt the turn. My only problem I got is I'm a little loose in on the brakes in the 1, and I think if we maybe cut some rear pad out of it next time or something, might be something to try, you know, just take a little bit of material off it.
Tell him what you want to tell him, Mike.
Yeah, this 30 came over and apologized. He said it was his fault. You gave him enough room there. Okay, no problem. I didn't know if I pinched him up there or not. I thought I left enough room, but it's no big deal. It worked out. Yeah, there was plenty of room. He just got a little squirrely and got into you there. 1 to go when you get here. 1 to go.
Daddy record those baby backs, Jack. Be true to.
Lap cars coming inside.
He is awake and alert in the infield care center, and he said that it is his decision to go to the hospital. Doesn't feel quite right yet, and it's his decision, but he is awake and alert in the infield care center.
further word we get on Rusty Wallace, we'll pass along to you throughout the night. Kevin Harvick's the leader, Mike Skinner second. Those two pitted on the backstretch pit road, got out first. The way they do the yellow flag pit stops here at Bristol. Then you've got Ricky Craven, another great stop for that team, out third. Jeff Gordon out fourth, Matty.
What happened during the stop? Adam Davis, the front tire fingers, impact gun jammed. They've already gone to a backup gun, but those few vital seconds is what cost him the lead.
And right now, guys, the 24-21, I think, are the two fastest cars here tonight. Interesting to see if Rudd can hang around on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon.
Now, Mark Martin had been running just behind Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick up front, but Bill, he's way in the back now, 26th place.
That's right, and I think he was one of the fastest cars out there too, but on their pit stop, they dropped the jack too soon. The gun got caught between the wheel and the body of the car. Mark started to go. They had to push him back. As you look at it here, around on the right side. When they come around on the left, watch when they drop the jack. The air gun will get trapped between the tire and the car. Mark starts to go, stop. They have to push him back, yank the gun out. Then Mark eventually left. He had to come back down pit road to put on two blood nuts. Very costly stop. Their car's been great. Now he's got his work cut out for him.
Oh, man.
You see that rear guy stand up and point, you know, and the jack man took that to mean everything was okay. He let the jack down.
So Mark Martin way back in traffic in 26th place now. Well, he's got a lot of laps left to try and make it up.
And a lot of cars to pass.
No, the problem he's got is he can't get hung up with these slower cars because the guys up front got clean racetrack and they're going to make their way around in the back of the pack quick.
Kurt Busch trying to get 8th place away from Matt Kenseth. No contest. And what a break that was for Matt Kenseth, that caution, eh, Dave?
Yeah, once they were losing air on one of their tires, the valve stem had got knocked off, Alan. Good thing they had that caution.
Unbelievable.
When it's your year.
That's how championships are won. Get in a break like that.
You know, Jeff Gordon, I talked with Jeff last week at Michigan about his championship, and he said, I said, how do you feel about it? He said, I'm looking for a sign. I'm looking, he said, in years I've won the championship, I've seen signs by the way things have happened during the year that it was my year. Matt Kenseth is seeing those signs.
Ricky Craven, the 32 car, almost got in the wall off turn 2 then. Lost a couple of spots.
Looked like he might have got a little bit of help there from the 74 car of Tony Raines. Looked like he got a little bit of a bump getting off of turn 2. And Ricky Craven had to gather the car.
Trouble off turn 4. Ryan Newman goes around. Ted Musgrave, Jeff Burton in it. Dave Blaney's in it. Caution's out. Looks like Burton got the worst of it.
And Tony Raines is going to get his lap back.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them.
Oh, man.
Right, let's see what happened on this one. We got how many more mad guys here? 3, 4. See Ted Musgrave in the 7 car. Looks like he got in the back of Ryan Newman. Got him turned around, and then he got turned around by Jeff Burton.
And then he's going to get turned around by
Dave Blaney.
There's 4 mad guys to go to the list.
Yeah. And, you know, the 12 car, Newman, continues on. I don't think he's got a lot of damage, but these cars do.
Yeah.
Saturday night at Bristol, a lot of racing, a lot of wrecking. There'll be some tempers flaring up tonight.
NASCAR's on the track. Odds are
Singled out, he's got room behind him. If I can't get going any faster, I'll let him go.
Go to him right now. Get him right here.
He'll be able to drive away once the tires get there, but I don't know.
All right, message delivered to the best.
vote for team. Not really a cold, but not a real hot part of the year, so we kind of see how we're doing on this night race setup. Want to come in the dead of July, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we'll probably just need to come, if you come March, you can test for the first race, and it'll kind of give you a good idea for this one, you know. It'll be mediocre one.
Yeah, I'd just like to get better, because this is a track I want to do good at, and my car's okay, but I don't know. Me and it don't fit. Like it was a good car, but what it wants to do are two different things. Not that neither one of them's bad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, y'all just ain't in time together.
Yeah, kinda. I need to figure some stuff out, and I don't get enough time here coming here to practice. You know, you pretty much got what you got when you start the race. You adjust on it, but practice so limited here. I'd like to test. It's a place. I mean, we tested here before, but we didn't. What I know now, vice versa for y'all.
Yeah, 10-4. This set of spring rate on this tire here is just a little bit stiffer on the right side. We got some that are softer, but I think that we're going the right way by coming the right there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Off the right side set up, get you two loose ends, so I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 10-4.
Finished 13th. They got a little more work to do tonight to get him back out.
Can't add him to the mad drivers list.
He's not mad. No. Yeah, he might. I don't know.
Those guys are mad.
Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart continuing to make repeated pit stops for repairs on their car after the last caution. Bobby and Tony both one lap down to the race leader, 28th and 29th spots. Still cleaning up the oil from Jeff Burton's car. We'll take a break from Bristol.
For the best quality paint, you'll feel right at home at Lowe's.
I'm so tired.
Yeah. Problem here. Well, it could be some of it. I've had it before, but I hadn't had it lately. I put that round to the rear back in it. See if that'll help. It may not take much, just so the back will work a little bit more. Okay, 10-4, 10-4. We actually didn't end up in bad position right there. We were running 18th. I guess we would have moved up a bunch of spots, but we're 21st now and got 4 fresh tires on it, so we're okay. 20, looks like about 26, 27, 28, 30 cars in the lead lap, I think. Tempo, I couldn't do much to help us that time. I'd say you did a lot. You kept us out of the wreck. That's all we need. If we got to put tires on every time to stay out of the wreck, that's okay. I hate to lose you, but it's okay. One to go this time, buddy. One to go.
Emergency 24-pack. Discover card. Why not get paid for the things you buy anyway? The Discover card is welcome.
at Walgreens, Toys R Us, and 7-Eleven, and more than 1,000 new places every day.
Half a lap for the restart in the Sharpie 500 at Bristol. Kevin Harvick, the race leader. 24 cars on the lead lap. Mark Martin made a pit stop under this caution. He's back in 23rd position. Remember, he lost track position on the pit stop problem we showed you last caution.
And that means Mark can make it on one more stop. If this thing becomes a fuel mileage situation, it's hard to imagine Bristol being a fuel mileage race, but you never know.
Green flag.
Good strategy. You don't have much of a choice when you're that far back.
I mean,
Mike Skinner after Kevin Harvick for the race lead.
All right, look at Skinner go.
Trying to march to the front.
You know, that's exactly what I was going to say. Whoa! He carries him up the hill and almost lets Jeff Gordon get by both of them.
Skinner to the point. Jeff Gordon squeezing. Oh, a little rub there with Kevin Harvick. Gathered it back up. Gordon to second. Here comes Ricky Rudd on Harvick for third. Clunk.
Talk about the right front fender. He got caved in there on the 21 car.
A little feisty here after the restart, huh?
Starting to get angry.
They weren't Harvick's hanging pretty He's hanging tough on that outside, right, Dave?
BP, he radioed to his crew. It rotates really hard now. I want the air temperatures or the air pressures in that rear tires to come up quick.
Yeah, and he had that problem. He had a problem with air pressures, we think, during the Busch race last night as well. He was really, really fast, made a pit stop. It took a long time for his car to come back in. The car looks like it's loose right now.
It took longer than he had to get back to the front as far as remaining laps in the race. Jeff Gordon all over the back of Mike Skinner now for the race lead, as Kevin Harvick has been shuffled quickly back to fourth after the restart.
There's Gordon taking a look. Got the crack position.
Oh, turn 3. As Jeff Gordon takes the lead away from Mike Skinner, the caution is out. Jeff Green has crashed.
Boy, that one car's had a long night already. It's only 192 laps in.
Now, if he's finished it off here,
He definitely has finished it off.
It might be merciful. Merciful. 8th caution flag tonight.
I tell you, it looks like someone so many times we see a little bit of bump going in the corner and they back them in the wall. That's what they look like. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you're on the edge at this place all the time anyway, so it doesn't take a whole lot of contact. That's exactly what happened, BP. Just a little touch like that.
That was for 19th place.
And it looks like, oh, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, until you come up to that part right there.
A lot of sparks there. Thank goodness the fuel didn't rupture.
Ouch. Back to Bristol in a minute.
In 2002, Ford won 14.
When I shift to third, Junior, right about before I get to y'all, it's terrible.
All right, buddy, one to go.
we'll send you our free, easy breathing information.
Comes the 25 again underneath you. Base car's off. Green, green, green. Still there. Outside. Still outside. Still there. Outside. Oh, it's one high. You're doing good. Still outside. Still there. Still clear. All clear. Hell of a job.
About that car like it's a human being, and you know something, if a car's good, that's what you feel, like they can hear you. Bill?
Yeah, Tony Uri Jr. told him, you guys just need to spend more time together. The car was tight, then it was loose, then it tightened up a little bit again. He didn't like a set of tires yesterday, but so far it's working out okay for Junior.
Junior running third now behind Jeff Gordon and Mike Skinner. Here's Matt Kenseth trying to get by Kevin Harvick for 7th spot. Remember, Harvick was up in the lead not that long ago.
Oh, there's Biffle right behind. Is that Sterling Marlin back there? He's fought his way up to 10th spot.
After almost being lapped earlier.
And Biffle was lapped, and he's fought his way back up to 9th.
What's going on with that 16 car there, Marty?
What an incredible run for these guys, Wally. They did go down a lap early, have made it up, and they made their way back up through the field since. And a little bit tied off for Biffle, but he said, I'm not going as fast as I could go right now, saving a little bit for later in the race. Dave?
Marty, remember where Sterling Marlin started, 36th? He used a 2-tire stop to work his way up. On that last stop, he was a little bit loose. They lowered the track bar, took some air out of the right rear tire. It took up fine now.
Marlin running 10th. Pressure on Greg Biffle for 9th. Look at the scoring serial on the 40 car.
Yeah, he was about to go a lap down at one point in the race right before one of those yellows came out.
Looks to me like right now that the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, is struggling. Trying to struggle to stay in front of these cars.
Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch racing for 5th and 6th. Since we're looking at the Lowe's car, how about our Lowe's improvers? Guys that have gained the most ground to this point in the race.
Yeah, I thought Sterling Marlin would fit in that group.
Nice job for Dale Jarrett tonight. And Jimmy Johnson up 11 spots.
Boy, that 74 car is all over Skinner, and he gets in the back of him.
Now the snoozers. Michael Waltrip, of course, the big crash, lost 38 spots. And Ted Musgrave and Rusty Wallace. Rusty again choosing to go to the local hospital for further observation and examination by the doctors after the crash he and Michael Waltrip had earlier.
I'm telling you what, that 74 car is fast right now.
He passed him on the outside. Talking about the 01 car, Skinner.
Nemechek through the lap car, opening the door to the inside of Skinner for Dale Jr.
Hey, Matt, what's going on with that 74? It looked like he had problems at the start of the race because he lost a lot of time, but he's hooked up now.
He sure did, Wally. In fact, he had a tire going down, had to make an unscheduled pit stop. Remember, Tony Raines always fast on the concrete here in Bristol. His best qualifying effort here. Hoping to make that pay off with a good run here tonight. It looks like that car very, very fast.
Oh, here we go. Junior on the inside of Skinner for the 2nd position.
Ricky Rudd's right there too, so might lose a couple of spots here.
So Skinner shuffled back to fourth, Dave.
Yeah, Alan, they're getting him in the middle of the corner. The car won't turn there. It drives up off fine, but he just can't get through the middle of the corner.
We actually mentioned that before this last pit stop, too, that's where he was having his trouble. So whatever adjustments they made on that pit stop didn't fix it.
Jimmy Johnson by him, Kurt Busch by him. So Skinner shuffled from second back to sixth in just a couple of quick laps here at Bristol. Tell you what, while we've been watching all this stuff from second on back, Jeff Gordon's gone. He's got almost a 4-second lead on second place. That's big at Bristol. Only takes 16 seconds to make a whole lap.
And I'll tell you, a lot of that is on the restart. He was able to clear the slower cars, and those other cars weren't, and he got a lot of track space made up because of that.
Hey, Marty, those Wood brothers got to be delighted with the way this 21 car is running.
It's so much fun, BP, to see these guys up front in the third position right now for Ricky Rudd. And last week we talked about Ford celebrating their 100th anniversary. One of Ford's longtime mainstays, the Wood brothers, also celebrating an anniversary this year. It's their 50th year in NASCAR racing. And the Stewart, Virginia-based team has been to victory lane 97 times in NASCAR competition. And the last one came right here at Bristol in March of 2001. Wouldn't it be great, BP, to see win number 98 tonight?
The car is very, very fast. He closes right up on the back bumper of Junior in that 8 car.
Chasing him for second place.
Yeah, he's probably the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Maybe not as fast as Jeff Gordon, but he's certainly second quick. And see how that car is right down on the bottom and really is hugging the bottom of the racetrack. Boy, that's what you have to have here at Bristol. He almost hooks the left front tire on the apron. Matt?
Really, the only problem tonight for Ricky Rudd was earlier in the race, we reported the water temperature had climbed to 250 and then dropped back down to 240 on lap 66. They really haven't made a lot of adjustments to this race car tonight. That's how strong this Ford is. Basically, with a major change, they pulled a tear off the windshield after liquid sprayed from the 31 car. Ricky, under the last caution, just kept saying, thank you guys, thank you, thank you. This car is just so awesome.
Troubles for Ted Musgrave. No caution yet. Now the caution comes out. Musgrave trying to limp around after getting squeezed into the backstretch wall. As he and Ricky Craven got tangled together there, I think.
And once again, I think this was a break for Matt Kenseth. Looked to me like he had started struggling, had gone back to the 13th position. There he is.
I mean, I'm just wondering if we need a set of tires, but I don't know. I guess take a half a pound out of the right rear and let's put a turn of wedge in the left rear.
And that's one thing the drivers are always worried about, too, especially Ricky Rudd. He wants to make sure that they put the exact same tires or type of tires on the car, pressures and everything. The car was so good, you don't want to make a pit stop and have that car change.
They didn't come down pit road because the pace car hasn't gathered up the field quite yet. They kind of missed connections there. Jeff Gordon in the pace car. Check it out, coming off in turn 2.
Oh, man.
I think there's more to that we haven't seen. Looked like Ricky just turned into him.
Clear high. Oops, sorry.
I'll tell you one thing, there's a lot of damage to that 32 car, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on the right side.
So the leaders should come to the opening of pit road now and begin to duck in. The double pit road here at Bristol. They go down the back and then around the front under caution. Dave?
Mike Skinner in. They're going to take air out of the rear tires to try to get that car to turn and come up off the corner well. 4 tire stop. Little drink for Mike. Marty?
Jimmy Johnson hit pits road running 5th, Dave, and a little bit tight for Johnson. Gets tighter the longer he runs. A round and a half in the right rear trying to loosen that car up. Bill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. making his way toward his pit stall. Gets there now. This will be 4 tires and a round and a half in the track bar because his car is just loose. Matt.
And Jeff Gordon's team waiting for him to pull to a stop. Gordon says the car's still awesome. He was a little tight in the middle on a new set of sticker tires, but the car was starting to come to him. No adjustments on this stop. Remember on the previous stop, Adam Davis's gun jammed. They had to go to a backup gun. The rears are done. The fronts are going on. He's still not going to beat him off pit road, Alan.
Ricky Rudd, Kevin Harvick, then Jeff Gordon. So under caution here at Bristol Motor Speedway in the Sharpie.
Not doing anything wrong there to hurt that stop. No, you're fine. Alrighty. I should fight any car there though, so we'll see what it does. Good for a while, man. Boy, I just really get free getting in. Real loose getting in. Gotta start easing in a corner, it kills my lap time.
To have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Almost make it two right there, because the air pressure, how it builds up the left side, how it makes it better in and off. I just about done that right there, but I chose not to.
All right, you're on one to go.
Right now? Oh, no, stay out.
That car's coming inside. You're coming to the green. The lap car coming.
A little bit of an edge.
And we're back to racing. The leader is Sterling Marlin in the Silver Bullet. He did not pit under the caution flag. Joe Nemechek in front of him is on the tail end of the lead lap, hoping for a quick caution and a free half-mile pass to come back around. It's Marlin leading. Dale Jarrett second, Mark Martin third, Ward Burton fourth, Ken Schrader fifth. Those drivers did not pit under the caution flag. Then you get Ryan Newman in sixth. And then next to Ricky Rudd in seventh, Kevin Harvick eighth, Jeff Gordon ninth, and Kurt Busch 10th.
Did you say did not pit? I thought Schrader pitted.
He did. Two right side tires.
Sorry, right side tires for
Good
Schrader.
catch, Wally.
Yeah.
That's a first punch, not the first punch.
Marlin, Jarrett, Martin, and Ward did not pit. Right. Schrader got rights. I believe Ryan Newman just got rights also. How about that 49 car? Nice job by them tonight, huh?
Look at him go. I congratulated him when I saw him Friday morning about what his great run in Michigan. He said this week will be better because mechanical things work this weekend. Weber?
Yeah, walk in their pit to talk to the crew, and they talk really softly and they want you to leave because we've had so much bad luck. But before this pit stop, I said, you going to make any changes? They said no. They said even Schrader said the car is good, so they weren't going to make any changes. Just took the two right side tires from 26th to the top 10 and moving forward.
Got their first top 10 of the finish of the season last week at Michigan. It's what BP was referring to a minute ago. And having a great run here tonight. Kevin Harvick, Ward Burton. That'd be for ninth place. Jeff Gordon through Ward. Kurt Busch through Ward. Now Harvick through. Ward not pitting under this caution, so he's got older tires than all these guys that are steaming by him. Mike Skinner, Jimmy Johnson. Here comes Jamie McMurray, 42 car.
There, still there, clear, clear. Clear.
Clear, clear. Still outside. Clear, clear. There. Clear, clear.
Obviously improved the car a great deal since then.
Yeah, I think it was the first caution. It was very close. Dave, what about the 40 car?
Well, Wally, I checked with Lee McCall, and I said your strategy is to pit as few times as possible, and last time you got the car right? And he said, yep, that's right. They last pitted on lap 161, so they won't have to come in again till about lap 350, and I bet you that's the last time they stop.
And they can make it on one more stop.
I think you're right.
How about these guys doing a Bristol race on 2 stops?
It's amazing.
Did you ever think that you would hear people talking about trouble turn 3, Scott Wimmer sliding down to the bottom of the corner?
No caution.
Not yet.
He's off the racetrack. Should not be a caution.
Got it fired. Got it fired. We're staying under green. Look at Robbie Gordon coming up alongside Joe Nemechek. Robbie back on track after losing 60
trouble
for repairs, and he may have some more repairs to make right now.
Here's one thing. When you're 68 laps down and you start racing with guys aren't going to put up with that. If a guy's starting to race with me when somebody's 68 laps down, you're just not going to have any patience with them at all.
Nemechek got back on the lead lap coming to the caution.
They gave us our, I hit the marbles and somebody went straight. I about drove into a goddamn wall. Yeah, I thought you was going to make a lap up on the field. Yeah, we're real lucky. Hopefully I didn't fuck my tires up too bad. Got a lot of shit on them. And slid them, but I don't know how bad. Just got to get them cautions now. Caution. I mean, I'm sitting there racing, and if a fucking guy don't say caution, I ain't slowing down. Caution. If you say car spinning, if everybody slow down, that's, I'm not supposed to slow down, am I? If you say caution, right? You were right, because the guys
That last one spun over there on the apron, and I said spin, but there was no caution. And 16 thought there was, and he checked up. So. Yeah. That's my fault.
Is our situation better, or is it about the same? It's about the same. It ain't started yet. It don't start till after a while it'll start getting loose, but I can tell it's going. Yeah, it just feels real soft on the right front. Going in, might be falling out. The right rear might be falling out from it. Getting in, I'm not even sure.
You are watching the Sharpie 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway on NASCAR In-Car on In Demand.
Got me a couple spots there for every 124, so that was good. That's what we need. That was the right move, I think, Robbie, trying to get the car right here so we can play strategy at the end of the race. But with a car that's good, I'll be able to make up the 3 or 4 spots that we would have had by staying out. I think it's 1 spot. I think just the 5 cars now we're going to lose to, 5 and the 23 maybe. At 24.
Hey, Bob. Hey. You get a new hat?
I've been fooled before on right rear, right front. I feel like it's rolled over when really they ain't got enough right rear spring in it. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm not sure whether standing the right rear up would help it. Put some feeling in it, you know. Maybe just all I need is a little feeling. At 10-4.
1 to go, 1 to go.
To get this car better, Matt.
Now, an update on Robbie Gordon. What happened this time, Robbie?
I guess the 41 wanted to position that space a little more than I did. You know, we were just trying to survive, and I got up on the high side of the 25, and I don't know. I think he got it in my left rear corner. Maybe I came down on him, but I'm pretty sure he got it in my left rear corner. Yeah, you have to almost laugh when you have a night like we've had tonight. You know, starting with the accident in pit lane. When the 4 was coming in, we were leaving. Had a really good race car tonight. Very disappointed for all the guys on the singular wireless team because we had a shot at winning this deal. As you saw right there, after a broken gear, I could still run right with Sterling Marlin. So a little disappointed, but it is what it is.
Green flag, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin. Dale Jarrett, your top 3. Little lap traffic there. Here comes Mark for the race lead.
And it takes it away, and Tony Raines at 74 car still trying to get that 1 more lap. He's down, get it back.
That puts him tail end of the lead lap, BP. He gets a caution here. He gets the half-mile pass.
Oh, and these guys are trying to give him one back here.
Yes, they are.
Bill.
You know, he's had a good car all night. They had the 1 bad pit stop. That dropped it back in the field. Then they stayed out when everybody else pitted. A couple times ago, they could make it to about lap 350, 360, and if it, you know, that could be the last stop. It's a good run for Mark. They were pretty confident coming in here. I think I even saw Mark smile today.
No.
smiling right now because he is leading the Sharpie 500.
Here are the guys who pitted under that caution. Jeff Gordon, Ricky Craven, Johnny Sauter, Scott Wimmer, Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Mike Skinner, Ward Burton, Christian Fittipaldi, Joe Nemechek, and Todd Bodine. Only a couple other cars that aren't on the lead lap. So, boy, Jeff Gordon is fighting his car still.
Yeah, like I said earlier, sometimes you just get a good set of tires. You just don't want to get off them. Now he's back in the traffic right there. And you're right, he still looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Trying to get by Johnny Sauter, or is it reverse? Is Johnny Sauter trying to get by Jeff Gordon?
Well, Johnny passed him last lap. Now Jeff's trying to get back around him. But
I think Jeff's trying to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Here's the second place, third place shuffle. Ryan Newman by Dale Jarrett. Here comes Kurt Busch.
Kevin Harvick.
Et cetera, et cetera,
yes.
et cetera.
Oh, man.
Almost clear, Kevin.
Easy, boys.
Clear now.
9-car Bill Elliott, 1 lap down, 27th place. You see minus a chunk of his right front fender that he lost. Ooh, that's a little evil wiggle.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson goes by Jarrett. All of a sudden, Big Brown is struggling. Here's Schrader.
That's tires.
Think it's tires?
Well, remember, he didn't pit.
Yeah, and the last time he did, he only took 2 rights.
There you go. How about Ken Schrader? Great job for that team, second week in a row. Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, third place, 12 and 97. Kurt, winner of 2 of the last 3 here at Bristol. We talked with Kurt at the start of the broadcast that after everything that's happened this week and all the media scrutiny on his radio transmissions and actions and his part of the confrontation with Jimmy Spencer about his ability to block it out and go racing here tonight, he said, that's fine, that's what we have to do. It had to be tough.
Well, it is tough up until the point that you put your helmet on. I mean, you know, everything around you when you're walking around the garage area, it's always going to be there. You're always going to be thinking about it. But when you strap in your race car, you start it up, you don't think about anything else but what's going on right now. You're concentrating on the job at hand.
As a matter of fact, you can be ill, not really feeling good and not wanting to run 500 miles, but as soon as you get in that car, you feel a lot better.
That's right. You don't think about it.
And as for Jimmy Spencer, we heard from his team owner Jim Smith earlier that Jimmy could not be any more remorseful for his part of the incident. And I'll tell you what, NASCAR in suspending, got trouble. Christian Fittipaldi, front straightaway. Caution flag number 11.
Uh-oh. That's my number, wasn't it? Ain't have any more.
Yeah. And just to finish the story briefly, Jimmy Spencer could not be hurt any worse by missing this race.
Yeah, he loves this place.
This is his best racetrack, and the punishment could not be any more severe for Jimmy Spencer than having to sit out this weekend here at Bristol.
And he was sitting out, he had to miss the truck race, the Busch race, and the Cup race.
Yep.
So
that one hurts.
You know, at lap 275, I don't think we're going to see many cars pit because we got to wait to get to that window.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're going to find out in about 15 seconds when they come to the pit road entry there. Over turn 2.
Oh, so you're going to make us wait?
Yeah.
Well, we got to prove Benny right or wrong.
Well, Mark's not going to stop. We can see that.
And then anyway, stops these guys that really need some tires like 88.
Like Dale Jarrett.
Yeah.
All right. So most of the front runners stay out. We'll take a commercial break. 224 laps to go in the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
To afford a double cheeseburger from the McDonald's dollar menu, this is how much work a bikini waxer has to do. The double cheeseburger, just one way to get a lot for a little.
Getting the bouncing in the front, getting the bouncing like you're softening it up the front too much or something.
It feels like I'm softening it up, you said?
Yeah, it just starts bouncing like we had earlier this spring.
that correctly got worse as the night has gone, like the spring rate in the tires doing it?
No, just right then is when I noticed it. Maybe the set of tires here.
Here contemplating on staying with the spring rates that we got. I got a set of softer ones, but pretty much gonna stay with what we got for the last run, but I just kind of questioning it myself there. I was thinking on that last stop, maybe moving the track bar down around on the right side. That would maybe get it off of the right front where it wouldn't roll over that much, maybe help you up off.
Yeah, what we've done slowing us down, I feel like. Well, the last adjustment or two has been making me real tight. Really ain't helped to loose any, but made me toe tight in the center.
Okay, 10-4. That's a half a pound in the right front and round and a half a wedge.
Might be just wearing the left rear out, you know. Might be you're pushing, dragging that left rear though. I don't know why it's real tight and all of a sudden bam, you're sideways.
First off, I got to apologize. I didn't check up quick enough for Ryan Newman there. And when I checked up, Jeff Burton turned me around, which was no fault of his. It's just Bristol. We're out for a lot of fun, but I was trying to give everybody a lot of room, and Ricky Craven got me on the turn 2 over there and put me up in a wall, but we'll fix it. This dog's got 9 lives.
Spencer will be back next week, and in a few moments, Musgrave will be back on the track.
And the problems continue for Bobby Labonte. They have finally figured out he's a broken fitting on the rear end. They have pulled the car behind the wall. They're putting it up on jack stands. The crew members, Scott Zipadelli and the bunch are underneath. Going to try to fix it, but the night just gets worse for Bobby Labonte.
Some years back, they used to give out an award at these Winston Cup races for the driver who suffered the biggest headache during the day. Boy, would there be a lot of candidates for that tonight. How about the Coca-Cola Racing family? How they faring? Well, pretty sporty.
Not bad. Kurt Busch leading the group. That was old Ricky Rudd in 10th spot.
Yep. And then there are some others who are not having a very fun evening.
Mikey did not have a good day in the 15 Napa Chevrolet.
No, Michael did not have a very good evening. Well, we said how many cautions would there be at the top of the show. Here's an update. BP?
I'm on my number.
You got problems.
Drive careful, boys, is all I can say.
Let's see, 219 laps to go. No more cautions? I don't think so. I think we're all in trouble.
BP never wins when he rolls an 11.
That's true. That's true, Bill.
All right, set for the restart. Mark Martin leading, Sterling Marlin second, Ryan Newman third, Kurt Busch fourth, Kevin Harvick is fifth. Jeff Gordon, who's dominated so much of the night tonight, is way back in 18th place. Dale Jarrett made a pit stop under that yellow. One of few lead lap cars to do so. He's in 22nd place for the restart. Get an update on what happened during Dale Jarrett's pit stop just a minute ago. Bill?
4 tires, Alan. They took a rubber out of the right rear to try to improve the handle of that car. They can go about 160 laps. That would get them to 440. If it stays green, it probably just needs fuel.
Backstretch. Car into the inside wall. It's Larry Foyt. And yes, the caution flag is out.
BP, you're out of here. Just blew right by my number. Casey Mears going to get a lap back. Is Mark going to let him do it? Yes, he did.
That will put Casey Mears on the lead lap.
That was a gentleman
thing to do.
Let's see if someone was not very gentlemanly to Larry Foyt.
My guess that would be in the affirmative.
Whoa, no, that just got out from under him there. Then he got finished off. Another caution at Bristol. We'll be back.
Freedom of speech. Exercised all race long. Log on to America Online or...
How did the 99 pull up? That motherfucker didn't do nothing but cause a bunch of trouble.
And if we get about an 80 lap green, these leaders are going to be screwed, aren't they, Robbie?
Yeah, 10-4.
As long as they've been out there, they've been out a long time, haven't they?
About 100 and, taking a shot here, 120 laps.
Okay, hopefully we'll get a long green, then we'll be able to get up to the front anyway, and then all pit at once. That'd be a good thing.
That 8 car be a little more patient until we get by those lap cars. Unfortunately, not going to happen. I'm not quite sure why that 99 pulled up there like that. He's got to be, what, 30, 40 laps down, doesn't he, Donnie?
Yeah, 10-4. Try like 70 almost. In fact, 79.
I'm sure he's having a pretty miserable time, so. Well, the 41 won't be back up there, so I guess it'll just be the 9. Run that brake back.
Putting it back to the rear, you said?
Yeah, this ain't, I mean, I ain't run good since the boot, so just taking all, covering all my bases. Felt it jerk the wheel going down it.
All right, but one to go. Give these lap cars, or a couple of them.
For most laps led in a race, well,
it beat Bristol.
Well, they've led 500 laps.
I'll say Rusty. What are you going to say?
I don't remember. I don't know. We'll see. What's the answer?
Survey says Cale Yarborough led all 500 laps here. March 1973, he had lapped the field by the 100th lap, and he beat runner-up Richard Petty by 2 laps. Wow. First of 9 wins here at Bristol for Cale. That year's Winston Cup champion. 2 seats to my right on the broadcast booth, Benny Parsons.
Well, thank you very much.
Finished 5th.
Did do well that day, though.
Hey, did finish 5th.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Now you might, I don't know how many laps behind you.
Yeah, right. We will get into that.
Mark Martin, keep trying to get the jump on Sterling Marlin as we go back to green. I got to wondering what's the longest we've run under the green flag tonight. It's 53 laps. That's the longest we've run under the green consecutively.
Kurt Busch on the outside of Kevin Harvick. Is this going to stick? Who's going to win this battle?
Wow, look at
fourth place.
Good move, man.
Look at Kurt go on the outside. That is impressive.
That is very impressive. It's hard to do here. That racetrack just does not have a lot of grip, especially on the exit of these corners if you're up high.
Now Jimmy Johnson after Kevin Harvick for fifth.
Now Harvick's trying to take a look on the inside of Kurt Busch as Bill Elliott, a lap car. Newman gets on the inside.
Harvick had his hands full there off turn 4.
Jimmy Johnson's right there. Is going to close the deal maybe, but you got Bill Elliott down low. Harvick's got to get down quick.
Ken Schrader next in line to try and take a spot from Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, he's got to fill the hole.
I'm sure Danny Cullen, the spotter, said, clear, clear, if you hurry.
So Jimmy Johnson is 5th. Kevin Harvick is 6th. Ken Schrader is 7th.
Check out Ryan Newman, that 12 car. He's made about 15 pit stops tonight. It looks like they've got it pretty good right now. Battle for second, no more.
That didn't take long.
What was that?
What was that? Did someone throw something out of the grandstand?
Oh, I don't know, but that was... It looked like a big deal of styrofoam.
That looked like a bottle or something thrown from the stands.
Caution is out for debris.
Man, that was strange.
Debris on the track.
Let's take a look here. You can see when they go down the straightaway, right there. What is that?
Well, they're talking about following the 54 car very carefully. So maybe something came off Todd Bodine's car. He was involved in an accident earlier.
Could be a piece of a bumper, or
it looked like styrofoam or something.
It's definitely a piece of the car.
Yeah.
And Mark Martin ran over that thing. It looked like pretty hard. He's got to be wondering about his tires right now. Hoping that he didn't puncture one when he ran that over. Here comes Sterling.
So this would be the 13th yellow flag.
Diving to the pits.
That's the 3rd place car, Sterling Marlin, who will go to pit road. How about it, Dave?
They told Sterling, we're going to take some years off your life and pit now and see if we can make it till the end. I don't know. They're going to not make any changes other than change the tires, fill it full of fuel.
Well, they could make it if there's enough yellows. They could do it.
If it keeps going like it is, they'll make it. We'll see if we get some more green flag racing in that might put that strategy in jeopardy.
On stuff. Yeah. About lap 325 or longer. Got somewhere right in that area, yes sir. Tag phone me that way, and maybe the next caution you can kind of give me a rating. That way I can have it in my notes of what you turned in the race. Guys that pitted that last time have been out there for 75 laps now.
get in one more stop.
Okay, tighten them up. 1 to go this time. 196 laps to go when you take the green.
Laps? Are you kidding me?
We're going to try it. You know, we're here to win the race, and of course, Light Dodge really run good tonight. But like I say, we're here to win the race, and we're here to gamble, and hopefully we come out of here with victory tonight.
All right, they've gambled their way to the front. Now they're at the back. Let's see if they can stay out till the end, Alan.
Also pitting under the caution, Greg Biffle, Joe Nemechek, Terry Labonte, and Casey Mears. All those lead lap cars. Sterling will restart 22nd.
And what these guys are talking about doing, and Ryan Newman spun the tires on that restart badly. The gamble they're talking about is running the rest of the way 200 laps without stopping again. A fuel battle here
at Bristol.
So what they're hoping for is enough caution flag laps that they'll have fuel to the finish, and then when everybody else comes into pit, say with 170, 160 to go, they'll stay out, get the track position, let everybody fall in behind him and try to pass him.
Rudd trying to go by Junior for the 8th position.
Backstretch car to the inside wall. It's Elliott Sadler. Up the bank, down the bank, and big damage.
And the radiator is broken as you see that trail of water, and another caution flag.
That is a similar looking incident to the one he had last year, after which he got out and slapped the side of the ambulance.
Well, let's see if somebody's made him mad.
He and Johnny Sauter.
And he tried to turn away from spinning out Johnny Sauter, and guess what?
He's mad at himself.
Mad at himself, yeah.
Up the track, back around, down. Look at him, he's still chasing it. Joe Nemechek squeaks by and catches a piece of it.
And that's who got him last year, wasn't it? Nemechek? Wasn't that what they were all about? Between him and Elliott? Who's he mad at last year?
I'm trying to remember now. You put me on the spot, and I'm drawing a blank. Was it Joe?
Nemechek, yeah.
This is going to leave a mark. Ooh. Caution number 14 here at Bristol.
Maybe we should put a half pound in there right rear too.
Hey, 10-4, we'll have it ready for you. Everybody be ready here.
You think about just staying out here, or are you going to pay the leaders bid?
Pit road will be open this time. Leaders come, we should come with them here.
I mean, it's pretty early. They're probably almost out of gas. If you want to stay out for one more run, I don't know. But if we get to the point where we can stay up to the end, we're going to get screwed. So we need to stay with them here now. Sure, because you're the one saying tires are going to make a difference. So do whatever you want, but they're all coming. I think we should stay. Stay out. Only 4 of them came. Everyone else stayed out, so. I saw them all drive back up there. That's why I decided to do that. I didn't want to get too far behind here. Yeah, 10-4. Still going to need some tire at the end. I got 200 or 190 laps. That's a lot, don't you think? I think it's a lot, but I think 24 is up the road. I'm sure he's going to stay out to the end from here. I think this is okay. Somewhere in here we're going to get 100 laps of green, and you're going to have better tires, I would think. So I think this is okay.
It'll be 1 to go when you get here.
Also pitting under the caution, Ward Burton, Sterling Marlin, topping off the fuel. Casey Mears, Kenny Wallace, and those are the lead lap cars, along with Joe Nemechek and Ken Schrader. Those lead lap cars all pitting here. Schrader with a very long pit stop. He comes off pit road last among that whole group.
A lot of guys are having trouble with their lug nuts tonight. You saw the 24 guys there.
Car fell off the jack on the 49, Wally. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yes. Well, the 24 car had a problem with the lug nuts. We watched them. They were trying to find one and put one on.
Check out our Napa field summary. Cautions and caution laps. Through all that mayhem, only 5 cars out of the race. Larry Foyt, Jeff Green, Christian Fittipaldi, Michael Waltrip, and Rusty Wallace. And by the way, no further update on Rusty other than he went to the hospital of his own choosing for further examination. Okay. 25 cars on the lead lap, 188 laps to go. Ryan Newman is now the leader. Most of the lead lap guys did not pit under the caution flag.
But they're going to have to pit before the night is over. That's why those guys, Mark Martin, some of those guys, gamble that they can make it the rest of the way. There'll be more caution laps. They can make it. Look at McMurray on the inside of the 48 car of Johnson. The battle for the 3rd position.
Ooh, Ricky Rudd, little tap there from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy Johnson tantalizing Jamie McMurray with that left rear fender hanging out there.
I couldn't figure out what I was going to say, spot or position a while ago. I didn't say either.
We were with you.
Okay.
Marty.
Elliott Sadler from the infield cares, and it looked a lot like last year's wreck. What happened?
I just got a little loose under the 4 car. And, he was down a little bit, I was up a little bit. Just got the combos 4 turn around. 100% my fault. Sorry to Robert Yates and everybody at Emmerdale. Try to get him next week.
So Elliott Sadler, one of many drivers involved in incidents tonight that have brought out 14 caution flags to this point in the race. Now, let's throw some stats at you here. Most caution flags in this August race at Bristol, 16. 2001 edition. Most all-time caution flags here at Bristol, 20. In the spring race of 89 and the spring race of 97. Wally, you're next on the bubble. I'm already out.
You're out. Okay, boys, don't let me down.
But you will be soon. Certainly at the rate things are going.
Just drive carefully, boys.
So what we're set up with here is a pit strategy situation, like we've been talking about at all these other races, where guys are trying to pit as soon as they think they can make it to the finish on fuel and let everybody else pit and come out behind them and gain that track position. Now, I'll just button up this thought just for a second, all right? Sterling Marlin pitted, along with Greg Biffle, Terry Labonte, and Casey Mears at lap 300 with 200 to go. Then at 310, Mark Martin and some others came in. So Sterling Marlin also came in there and topped off his fuel again, but Marlin is the farthest up. Let me check that. No, he's not either. How about Greg Biffle is the farthest up of those guys right now.
Yeah, but they can't make it. If it goes green right now, Sterling cannot make it.
No.
They have to come back in. So it doesn't matter whether they topped off right now. It only matters if they get some yellows.
Mark Martin needs 10 caution laps to reach the finish. 10. Jack Roush, the car owner, told me.
Okay.
So those guys stopped at 300 are going to have about 20 caution flag laps to be able to make it.
And now the guy that's farthest up in the running order is Kevin Harvick, that had made the pit stops because he just went by Greg Biffle. So Harvick in 12th is the farthest ahead.
Johnny Sauter about to lose a spot. That's 18th to Jeff Gordon.
He'll lose a couple of spots.
All of a sudden, there's something wrong with Junior's car because Ricky Craven goes right by him, takes over 7th.
Tell you what, Ricky's had a very solid night tonight, even though he got in that scramble with Ted Musgrave down the backstretch. 32 cars, been very strong. He's been a top 10 car.
That little wheel spin off that 8 car there off the corner.
How about that tide ride, Matty?
Well, earlier on, Alan, the biggest problem for Ricky Craven, the radio was out. He could not hear what the team was telling him. They finally swapped him to the backup channel, then it was fine. Then later in the race, it came back. They worked on that, made an extra stop under a caution. They've made a lot of track bar adjustments as Junior goes back by the 32 to try to free that race car up. It's just gotten way too tight.
Been a tough summer for Ricky Craven. Last 13 races, he's fallen from 7th to 21st in the championship standings. 5 DNFs in that time. Some of them silly things like Michigan last week, cut a tire, car got out from under him, and he got clipped by Casey Mears. Team owner Cal Wells told me they're working very hard on finding a sponsor for a second team to add to that stable for 2004. There are the 2 guys farthest forward that are on the "we're done pitting for the night" strategy. Kevin Harvick in 29 and Greg Biffle in the 16, who's come back from a lap down, Marty.
I just talked to Randy Goss, the crew chief, Alan. He said actually they cannot make it all the way on fuel. They had to pit that time because the Hanley's on the way on the car, but they're about 20 laps short of making it all the way on fuel. So unless they get a lot of caution laps, they're going to have to pit again for that 16 bunch.
All right, so scratch him from the list.
So he falls in that group with Newman and Bush and Johnson, McMurray, Rudd, Kenseth. All those guys got to stop.
Well, the 88 and the 19
they were
beating each other.
Telling you.
Dale Jarrett trying to move back up through the traffic. He's in 12th place. Jeremy Mayfield just shuffled back to 14th. And Ryan Newman leading at this point in the race with 166 to go. Matty?
A very patient performance for Ryan Newman at one point tonight. Back on lap 80, he was all the way back to 32nd. He has fought back. Matt Borland kept him out on the racetrack under that last caution. Simply, they were not in their window. Lap 350 to lap 353 is what their calculator tells them is their window. Ryan did come on the radio, said the car is tighter. It's the best it has been all night.
How many times has he spun out tonight? Twice?
I was just looking back at that. Lap 77, he went for one of the loops. Last driver to win consecutive races. Kurt Busch last fall.
So Ryan Newman won last week at Michigan. He could duplicate that. But Kurt Busch, who won this spring race in Bristol, is lurking.
And I mentioned that Ryan spun at lap 77. He also got tangled up in the mess at 178. How about Kurt Busch running second, Matty? Oh, got a car in the wall, turn 4. Bobby Labonte. Caution flag is out. And this would be number 15.
Okay, those guys that talked about 350. Now might be the time for them to make a pit stop.
162. It'll be 161 to go, and Ryan Newman gets picked up by the pace car. But a lousy night for Bobby Labonte.
He can't take too many hits with the back of that car.
No.
Be the second one.
He tearing up the pieces pretty soon.
All right, right, so 161 to go.
And Bobby Labonte's going to take his car behind the wall.
Sterling Marlin, 16th place, stays out. Dave.
Kevin Harvick is in 2 tires only, fuel, and then said will be done, according to crew chief Todd Berrier. They'll try to go to the end. Marty?
Jimmy Johnson running third, no one pitting behind him, no one pitting in front of him. He says, I'm rocketing into the corners, a little bit tight in the middle, through and off. He said, I went a round and a half in the right rear of Wedge. They gave him 4 tires and fuel. He's had 2 top 10s and has 3 Bristol starts. Bill?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. slows to a stop, 3 in, 3 off, tight in the middle. They'll make a track bar adjustment, give him 4 tires and enough fuel, Jeff Clark says, to get to the finish. Matt.
And the 12 of Ryan Newman in, you can see they're making a wedge adjustment. The gas man, George, really getting ready for the second can. As the changer comes around, they're going to pack that fuel cell full of fuel. Matt Bullen said, get all in it that you can, and be careful at 97 on the way out, but they're not going to worry about that. Busch beats them out.
Sterling Marlin and Casey Mears did not pit.
And the 6 car just took gas, came in and topped it off and led.
160 laps to go at Bristol.
I mean, my haircut is nice, the dye job, it worked. Good. It's good, huh?
Uh-huh. You charge the batteries, right? Yes.
Stay ahead of the 88.
Okay, so make sure I was mad at me before we went on the restart here. Got dumped getting into 1.
I'll go check it out anyway.
Big deal. If he was mad, he probably would have came over and saw you. So nobody's probably scared of you.
Okay, come on. Go to this guy now. It'll be 1 to go when you get here.
It was a decent stop, guys. At a 32 sped on pit road like crazy. Leaving is the only reason he got us, so it was all right. The 6 come back in, Robbie. Don't know. Okay. Well, I wish we would have ended up a little farther toward the front, but I think we're still going to need these tires, so I think this is all right.
All right, 1 to go. Everything is cool with the 10. He was just trying to stay ahead of the 88. Just running into you by accident. Said he's sorry.
I didn't mind. I just want to make sure I make him mad.
You don't make anybody mad, pal.
Do.
Agreed.
Place to sit and eat.
Day or night, we're always open, so come in and have a real meal at Denny's.
Back at Bristol in the Sharpie 500, Sterling Marlin is the leader. Casey Mears is second. Did not pit under the caution. Jeff Gordon, just fuel on his pit stop. He's third. He was 17th at the yellow flag. Kevin Harvick quickly looking on Gordon. Not there.
Is that Kurt Busch on the outside just blew by those guys? Man, goes by McMurray on the outside. Now he's going to try Kenny Wallace.
He started 8th. He's trying to get 6th from Kenny. Now he's trying to shut the door on McMurray. Wow.
You play offense only so long at this joint, then you got to start playing defense.
So just to finish the pit story, Ken Schrader took fuel only. He's 5th. And you've got Kenny Wallace 6th, Kurt Busch 7th, Jamie McMurray 8th, Ricky Craven 9th, and a spinner down the front stretch and one into the outside wall. It's Mark Martin. Before we even get to tell you what happened to Mark Martin on his pit stop, he's into the outside wall.
And Mark was in such a good spot when
After
you tell
the
what
pit stop.
happened. Yeah, after the pit stop, and he had to come in. Alan will tell you about that. But what a
Let's put it away and let's load this car up.
Yeah. Mark came in, got fuel only on his pit stop, got off pit road ahead of all the other guys that pitted, but the catch can went with him out of his pit box.
Yeah.
He had to come back in. It put him back 26th in line, and that's what happens at Bristol when you get back in line.
Exactly. I mean, you talk about track position. Well, track position will hurt you here at Bristol. Watch here. See, right behind the 8 car, the 6 car leaves, and there's the catch can. Comes flying out of the box. You cannot take equipment out of the box. So he had to come in for a stop and go. The problem is he got back in the back of the pack, and we always say those yellows breed yellow, especially this time at Bristol.
All right, here's what happened to bring out the caution flag. Top of the screen. Looked like Johnny Sauter and maybe Bill Elliott got tangled up.
And Mark just got collected.
Sauter came off the wall and just caught Mark in the right rear as he went by, turned him head on in the wall. Dave?
Now let's catch up with Mark here. Mark checking out the damage and collecting his things. Mark, tell us about that.
Johnny Sauter, he lost it. He's a weapon out there all night, man. I couldn't believe it. You know, and I see he's still out there running. I don't know. This wasn't our night. We had a great car. So it's just, that just figures. You know, I really believe that we had a chance to win that thing.
It looked like it from down here and up there too, guys, didn't it?
No, I mean, he had a great car and he was in a great spot, but unfortunately that mishap in the pits put him in a bad position on the restart of this race. When you're back there with those guys, sometimes you get caught up.
So Mark Martin, you can put him on the angry list.
Yeah, he was smiling, but he wasn't happy.
Yeah. Bill?
Just want to follow up on the Mark Martin catch can, Alan. When he left and that catch can fell, the gasoline that spilled behind the 8 car, the rear tire changer and the tire carrier slipped in that. That slowed Junior's stop and put him further back in the field.
Yeah, Junior's back in 19th. So caution number 16 is out here at Bristol. Watch this. Mark leaves. The catch can still there. And now watch the guys coming around the back of the car.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the rear tire changer almost got hit with the catch can when it came sliding into the pit.
So we are under caution again with 150 laps to go. I hate to think what might happen in the final chunk of this race. Where's the love?
Bill probably built that thing so we wouldn't have to listen to him during the race.
Sure, right now, he wishes he could talk to you.
I'm sure he'll get to me sooner or later.
It'll be 1 to go when you get here.
I'm telling you, it moves. Now he's back up. Oh, now he's going down.
Wrangler 5-star premium quality.
Yeah, this gives us an opportunity if we don't get anywhere to get tires to the end, maybe make up a lot of position tires.
Hit for 150 laps. 148 right now, so be good. That's how long it took us to get up there to the front a while ago when the race started.
150 laps, we run second. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I can do it. I'm going to need a little help.
All right. Andy, you're off.
All right, buddy. Here we go. Pace car's off.
Green flag, and we're back underway in the Sharpie 500. You know, summer's winding down. A lot of the county fairs that have demolition derbies have passed for the month of August. We got one going here tonight in Bristol.
Well, Gordon is all over the back of the 41 car, Casey Mears.
And Kurt Busch, once again on the restart, got a spot on the outside. Has Schrader down in 1 and 2 on the outside.
Got himself 5th position, did Kurt.
Here comes Harvick.
Kevin Harvick.
Doing the fake.
Jeff Gordon putting some pressure on Casey Mears.
Oh, look at Harvick on the inside.
Got it.
Can Kurt Busch follow? He's going to try.
Slammed the door was on his toes.
Now.
So Kevin Harvick to 3rd. Yes.
Harvick gets to the 41. May not be as patient as Jeff was with him.
Here's Kurt Busch working on Jeff Gordon for 4th. And Ken Schrader trying to follow the open hole through. I tell you what, Jeff Gordon led 179 laps most of the opening part of this race, but his car's just not been right for this whole middle section of the race.
And we see Harvick going by Casey Mears for the 2nd spot.
Harvick got just right side tires on his pit stop at lap 339, but remember Sterling Marlin pitted at lap 300. Now granted, he hadn't run a whole lot of green flag laps on those tires.
Kurt Busch put the pressure on.
Remember Casey Mears in that 41 was a lap down earlier in the race after being involved in an early crash. Got back on the lead lap. Stayed on the track. Got some track position. Marty, he's hanging right in there.
He's done a great job, and he's been very patient. They actually are 1.2 laps down in this race. They now can make it all the way on fuel. His car's been a little bit tight, but on the last 3 stops, they have made no changes to that 41 car. Great run for this rookie.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, and he's learned a whole lot in 300 laps here at Bristol.
Tell you what he's going to learn in just a minute.
The bump and run?
The bump and run, yeah.
Yep.
Because Kurt Busch cannot allow these guys to keep driving away from him the way they are right now.
Now, the way the 41 car is moving up the racetrack, I think Kurt's going to be able to get underneath him here pretty quick.
I see the, whoa, nice cut there.
Yeah, it was a good cut.
So Kurt Busch by Casey Mears for 3rd. Here's Jeff Gordon trying to follow the opening to the inside.
Can't quite make it. It's amazing how Jeff Gordon's car has changed from the first 150 laps to the last 150 laps.
Up front, Kevin Harvick trying to catch up to Sterling Marlin for the race lead. Kurt Busch is 3rd. And this is the race for 4th, but check this out, top 2. Harvick is there. Will we see the bump and run from him?
Yeah, still a lot of laps to go.
Yeah, but if he's faster and he knows Kurt Busch is closing fast. Here he is inside.
Sterling doesn't have the rubber that Harvick has on his car. He's got better tires on his car right now.
Kevin Harvick led 25 laps earlier in the race. He's back out in front for a 2nd time with 134 laps to go. Watch this. Wow.
That's enough because you can see the body pick up off the rear tires, and that's all it takes.
Ken Schrader by Casey Mears. Here comes Jamie McMurray. Joining the fight at the front of the pack. Nice job by McMurray all night. He's kept our little front bumper cam in one piece.
Yeah. Well, once again, riding on board with Jamie McMurray in the 42 car in the front bumper. He's currently in 6th position.
He started 31st.
Car that looks pretty fast right now is Jimmy Johnson.
Jamie McMurray in his second NASCAR Winston Cup start here at Bristol. He finished 11th in the race here back at the end of March. And here's Jeff Gordon, Ken Schrader, and McMurray, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Got a little bit of free racetrack before you get back to 7th place. Now Jimmy Johnson, who's gotten by Casey Mears.
Well, there was a lot of...
And a lot of people are about to... Oh, turn 1, Sterling Marlin has crashed. 2nd place car. And the caution flag is out.
Man, this is unbelievable.
I don't think the TV show Survivor's got anything on these guys. No. This could be the last one running tonight. Sterling Marlin was running 2nd when he went off into turn 1. Uh-oh.
He's going to get some help from Kurt Busch.
Sure did. And I'll tell you what, when you get hit going into a corner, there's not a whole lot you can do.
That's the worst.
Watch here as he goes down in turn 1. Gets in the back of Sterling. When you're turning down into the racetrack and you're already loose getting in, I'll tell you what, there's not a whole lot you can do to save it. Dave?
They don't think it's been up too bad. Changed right side tires only. Didn't pull any damage out at this point. They may come back around and do that. Guys, they were only about 10 laps shy and needed 10 yellow laps to make this thing go to the end, and they didn't want to be part of that.
And the reason they would just change the 2 and come back around because they're toward the end of the field. You don't have a whole lot of time for when you get to your pit stall before you might get lapped by the pace car here at Bristol.
I'm not too sure he doesn't have some damage to those trailing arms, that rear suspension on that Coors Light car. Let's see. Once the car gets... The left rear tire might have caught some of that abuse with the wall.
There's the stack up we were talking about. Kenny Wallace got in the side of Casey. They did a good job.
Now they come down into the corner. Clunk, thunk, bang. Sterling Marlin's car sits broadside across the racetrack.
21's got some damage there.
21, look at the right front on the 21 car. Oh, man.
Bill? Dale Jr. was just in.
He got right side tires there, and they had to pull the sheet metal away from the right front. His car is free in, free off, tight in the center, but they were very concerned about some right front damage, and that's what they worked on.
Ricky Rudd also in. Sterling Marlin making that 2nd pit stop under this caution flag. The 2nd place drivers spun out, and we're under caution again at Bristol.
What makes
They pulled the 1 to go. They're not going to go.
go green the rest of the way. The car felt pretty good, pretty racy right there. I have no idea what I'll do next time, but try to keep that same going.
Good 4.
401 to go, guys. 1 to go.
By reducing friction. One of the simplest ways to reduce friction in the engine is to use the right motor oil. That oil is new Quaker State. Quaker State is now engineered to deliver a 10% lower coefficient of friction.
You know, your goal is to win a race, but we want to win championships. In the last 7 years, we've been fortunate enough to win 8 championships, and Quaker State helped us get there.
New Quaker State Peak Performance, the power to reduce friction.
The restart in the Sharpie 500 with Kevin Harvick now leading Kurt Busch. Is that Ryan Newman getting a little shuffle there? It is Harvick, Busch, Jeff Gordon, Ken Schrader, and Jamie McMurray, followed by Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Ricky Craven, Kenny Wallace, and Casey Mears, your top 10. A lot of pressure on the race lead.
And look at Harvick go up the hill and cannot keep his car down, and Busch goes to the front.
Sterling Marlin, after his couple of pit stops, is back in 23rd position. Kurt Busch saying this after the tangle between he and Sterling Marlin moments ago.
He was trying to let me go, and he got his right sides up in the fuzz. I didn't know he was trying to let me go. I didn't think anybody was going to cut me a break tonight, so I'm really sorry.
The NASCAR race director David Hoots came on the NASCAR channel and asked the inspector in Kurt Busch's pit to communicate to his crew chief Jimmy Fennig that if Kurt was involved in anything with a car in front of him later tonight, he would be brought to pit road and the penalty box would be opened. Dave?
Alan, I did check with Lee McCall, Sterling's crew chief, to say, hey, were you guys going to let the 97 go? And he said, well, they never asked, but then again, we never got the chance to let him go either.
All right, Matt.
What did you tell Kurt Busch about NASCAR's warning?
Well, right there, you know, he didn't really mean to get into Sterling, you know, and I told him NASCAR's watching us. We're on probation, we know it, you know, so we're trying to be extra careful out there.
Well, he's got one advantage right now. He's leading.
Yeah, nobody's in front of him.
Yeah. Kurt Busch out in front of this race for the first time all night. As we look a little farther back at the race for 5th place, actually 4th, 5th, and 6th, Ken Schrader, Jamie McMurray, and Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, Kurt knows the whole world's watching him right now, so, you know, he's not going to go out there and take somebody out intentionally, because he knows he's under a magnifying glass. So he is trying to be careful. I don't think that was an intentional deal with Sterling. But the end result is still the same. So, I mean, you know, NASCAR is going to have to make a call if it were to happen again that way.
Just had to hesitate to get with the gas there.
I think right now that Jimmy Johnson's a little bit faster in this 42 car, but being faster and passing here at this racetrack is two different things.
Talk about Kurt Busch being very much under the microscope tonight. This was just a little while ago when he got by Casey Mears to pick up a spot. And then the incident with Sterling Marlin racing for 2nd at lap 371. A little bit of left front cave in there on that 97. Yeah. Of course, at another track, that'd be a big deal. Here, half the cars have got some fender damage on them. It will be very interesting to see what kind of reaction Kurt Busch gets if he's able to win this race. We saw the reaction he got at driver introductions earlier. Ricky Rudd had been having such a great night. He picked up some damage in the aftermath of that accident. Now he's being worked on, not on the racetrack.
A heartbreak for Ricky Rudd. They pulled the car behind the wall, a busted radiator. They're going to try to change a radiator, but what a great run he had going tonight.
Yeah, that's too bad. So Rudd now 16 laps down and falling as he spends time behind the wall. Now that we've settled in a few laps after this restart, Kevin Harvick is starting to reel Kurt Busch back in.
Well, we've seen it a lot tonight and last night. Harvick's car is not real good after a restart, but after they run 10 or 15 laps, the thing becomes a rocket.
And when Kurt Busch caught Kevin Harvick, Harvick just moved up and let him go. Will Kurt Busch do the same thing, knowing that he might not be able to get back by him?
They're going to catch the tail end of the field pretty quickly. Tony Stewart and then Bobby Labonte, involved in some incidents earlier tonight, are going to be next up for the lead cars to negotiate.
Well, whether he does and whether he doesn't, if he doesn't, Kevin will probably be less patient with him because, like you said, you kind of expect that favor in return when you do that.
Neither one of these guys are not aggressive. They're both, you know, pretty high profile, pretty high strung personality.
Yeah, but I mean, when you come to a place like this, if you give a guy a break and then all of a sudden your car works a lot better and you get back to that guy and that guy doesn't return the favor, your blood pressure goes up real quick here. So, you know, we'll see what happens if Harvick can get back up to him.
How about this? Ward Burton trying to work by Dale Earnhardt Jr. and follows Sterling Marlin through. That's for 18th place. So Junior's struggles continue here.
And Bill Elliott in the 9 car has managed to get himself back in the lead lap and going by Junior for position.
Yeah, coming to that last caution. Joe Nemechek next to try Junior. So the second place driver in the championship tonight has dodged all the bullets so far as the cautions and the accidents are concerned, but he's not having a very good night performance-wise. Matt Kenseth is running in 10th. Earnhardt Jr. now getting shuffled back to 21st place. Jeff Gordon's running 3rd. How about your leader Kurt Busch, still hanging on to that few car length advantage over Kevin Harvick. It's Casey Mears and Johnny Benson. That's 13th and 14th they're racing for. And Casey Mears slipping by Johnny to take the spot. And an update on Rusty Wallace just coming in. He has been released from the hospital. Everything's fine. And he's on board his helicopter and heading back home.
That's fantastic.
Yep, good to see you. It was a vicious crash if you missed it earlier. Michael Waltrip crashed in front of him, came down the bank, and Rusty Wallace had no place to go and just plowed him.
Man, that was close there.
So Johnny Benson back by for 13th. Here comes Jeremy Mayfield and Terry Labonte.
Wally, these guys are driving very, very hard now with a little less than 100 laps to go. They realize every spot they can get now is money.
It's go time now. So Mike Skinner taking the spot.
Just trying to think of, we've had like 25 laps of, well, let me recheck that here.
I think that handle's gone away a little bit for Casey, because he's struggling right now. And he's got a long way to go yet if they're not going to stop anymore.
We've had 12 laps of caution since these guys made those pit stops at 3:39. So I think for most of these guys, the fuel has pretty much been taken care of. You think?
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
So now it's a race to the checkers. See Casey Mears as high as second place, as low as 42nd, a lap down at one point. Very nice job tonight. It's got to be tough on a rookie to come here to Bristol. I mean,
it's tough on anybody.
You know.
Exactly. Just ask for Mark Martin.
Yeah.
Who had a great race car and got caught up in somebody else's wreck.
Scott Willer, Johnny Sauter, 27-4, moving by Casey Mears. Ted Musgrave back on track after time behind the wall from a crash on the backstretch.
It's one of those places when you go to bed at night, you still hear your spotter. Inside.
I'll tell you what, Harvick is not letting Kurt Busch get away from him.
All right, now we've tried to do this about 8 times tonight, and every time we've done it, the cautions come out. You know what I'm setting up here?
So don't jinx it.
Well, I have to. We have to.
You have to?
Yeah. Let's go through the field. Starting with the leader. Matt, let's try it.
Kurt Busch trying to sweep Bristol in 2003 on his last stop. The air pressure and track bar adjustment has helped a tight and loose race car, but he did make one observation. If they get a caution with about a 50 to go, he said you might want to think about pitting your tires, Dave.
Last time Kevin Harvick stopped, they changed just the 2 right side tires and made no chassis adjustments to that car. It's as good as it's been all night for Kevin. Matt, back to you.
Jeff Gordon pitted back on lap 311, took on tires. The last stop, just gas only for track position, running the same lap times as the leader. Bill?
Outstanding run for Ken Schrader. Very few changes made to the car throughout the evening. In the top 5, maybe a shot at the win. Very quiet night for Jamie McMurray, another team that hasn't made very many changes on this car. McMurray's car is good. Both those guys can make it to the finish on fuel.
Snyder. Bill, at the beginning of this run, Jimmy Johnson had about the fastest car. Now his car just gotten too tight, coming off of the corners. They can definitely make it all the way on fuel. This car won twice at Dover last year, Matty.
Until the last caution, Marty, the 12-car Ryan Newman, he was told to conserve fuel. They didn't think they could make it. Now they are good to go. The car is the best it has been all night. Now it's hurting his track position. Meanwhile, the 32 of Ricky Craven still fighting a tight race car. A wedge adjustment on the last stop to try to free the 32 up.
When the leaders have gotten together, they're going by Casey already.
24th place car getting put a lap down, and Kevin Harvick putting a lot of pressure on Kurt Busch for the top spot. A lot of traffic in front of them now.
Lots of traffic, and how they get through this is going to determine who ends up in front in about 10 or 15 laps.
Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart give way.
Now you want the slower cars to go up high. I mean, that's what guys are supposed to do when they're slower. Run that high groove so the fast cars can stay down low.
Oh, Jeff Gordon is up out of the groove off turn 4. Troubles for the 24. Jeff Gordon was in 3rd spot, but he slowed coming off turn 4. Well, left side tires look good.
Same thing happened to him last week at Michigan.
Caution is coming out. Hearing that something has fallen off the 40 car. That's why his number is up on the black flag board. Look at some guys getting their laps back here. Casey Mears, Steve Park, Tony Stewart getting a lap back from Kurt Busch. Saying it's a bumper brace from the 40 car.
That'll definitely puncture a tire or radiator or...
All right, now Kurt Busch talked about pitting for tires with 50 laps to go. Okay, what about with about 75 laps to go? Matt, what happened to the 24 car, do you know?
Well, Benny, he told his team he believes he has a flat right front tire.
Yeah, so if it is, it's a lucky break for him that the caution came out.
And maybe he did run over that brace that came off the 40 car.
Let's see if we can look at it. Yeah, it looks down.
It's low, for sure.
Yeah. So who will pit here?
Besides Jeff Gordon.
There'll be 77 laps to go as they come to the opening of pit road.
Gosh, you hate to give up the lead, don't you?
Oh, man.
Lead lap, 24 cars.
I don't think they'll pit.
No, I don't either. I mean, you can't.
Harvick fakes.
Not if you're up front.
Kenny Wallace, it looks like, going to make the first move. The 11th place car. How about 10th place Dale, 9th place Dale Jarrett will go in first. And a couple cars behind him on the lead lap stay out. So this is going to get interesting with these guys with the fresh tires here in the final laps.
Oh, yes.
And talking to the guys down in the garage area before, new tires don't make that much difference. Bill?
Well, Dale Jarrett on pit road talked to his crew, said, I think this is our best shot. So they're going to bring him in, give him fuel, give him 4 tires and then send him back out. Everybody behind him came in, so you got to try and take advantage of this. He's on his way. He only took 2 right sides. Matt?
Phil, Jeff Gordon, not exactly sure which side the tire was flat. He said it might be the left front. I'm not quite sure. They're going to change all 4 tires. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment. The car still pushes in the center of the corner.
So caution number 18, that would be a new high for the 2003 season, is out here at Bristol.
We're staying with him on lap time. It's pretty decent, Robbie.
Yeah, for your left times to see, you know, about what the leaders were.
Okay, we'll see what happens. I got kind of a bad feeling about this. I see the guys that pitted are only about 5 cars behind me. I don't feel too good about that, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
That's where we're all rethinking it here, too.
I kind of hesitated to drop off, waiting for you to tell me. And, I kind of waited because I saw someone dropping behind me. Just in the wrong spot. If we were 4 cars up and the car was handling better, it would be okay. But the way the car's handling and some guys not being far behind me, I think they're going to eat our lunch.
Be 1 to go.
He's always worried about that.
Done 580 laps on our tires, so got some good adjustments for you here. Be ready to go. We got 2 lap ones on the inside there. Pace cars off.
We're out of time. He ran the board, though. Let's get out and count.
Now we see if this hurts Harvick a little bit. We've seen him struggle a little bit on the restart, PP. But maybe he didn't have enough time for the tires to really get cooled, or it will hurt him.
Of the 24 cars on the lead lap, 13 of them pitted under that caution flag. Dale Jarrett, Kenny Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Bill Elliott, Johnny Sauter, Tony Raines, Mike Skinner, Ward Burton, Sterling Marlin, Joe Nemechek, and Casey Mears. Those guys have the fresh tires on, and they're trying to come from the back. Some of them have fresh tires on. Dale Jarrett just got 2.
He goes by Benson, moves into the 10th spot. So he's up farther than anyone else with a little bit fresher rubber. That's about the position he was running in when he made the pit stop. So that worked out very well for Dale Jarrett.
And in all the confusion coming to that caution flag with Jeff Gordon's problems and then the piece of debris falling off Sterling Marlin's car, let me also point out that Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman shuffled by Ken Schrader to pick up 4th and 5th. Kenny's now running 6th. We, of course, started doing it through the field, and naturally the caution came out. Let's check on our championship leader. Didn't get that far back, Marty.
Yeah, and he didn't hit either, Alan. He said, I don't like the looks of this. The cars have stopped for tires, are only 3 positions behind me. Why did we not stop? I think we made a mistake. I think those guys behind me are going to eat our lunch because fresh tires make a difference here. We saw it last night in the Busch Series race, and we might see it tonight in the Winston Cup race.
Did you see the closure rate on that 88 car through the corner?
Yeah, so I guess the tires did make a difference here.
The guys talked about in practice, after they cool the tires are about as fast, but obviously those new tires are working very well for Dale Jarrett.
8th place he just picked up from Matt Kenseth. And remember, DJ just took rights on his stop. Farther behind him, Jeff Gordon on 4 fresh tires, picking off some spots. Just picked up 13 from Mike Skinner, and Dale Jr. trying to follow him through. Jr. also on pit road that last caution.
There's a little bump.
Schrader's in trouble, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got him kind of bottled up behind him. He has to be careful he doesn't get turned around here. Getting late. Somebody gets in a hurry. Junior's got him up the track now, Bill.
And that's 4 fresh tires on that car. Wasn't handling well, Alan. So they came on to pit road. They got 4. Looks a little better now.
So Junior through to pick up 14th. Mayfield through to pick up 15th. Skinner was 16th, but Ward Burton just said, excuse me.
Yeah, Skinner got slid up the racetrack there, and he's got a whole file of cars on the bottom of the racetrack where he lose a lot of spots.
Somebody else who's feeling the effects of the older tires, Ken Schrader. Just lost a spot to Dale Jarrett. Matt Kenseth's working on him, Bill.
Yeah, and that car's just gotten bad loose, Alan. Check that. It's tight. The car is tight. They were hoping that maybe it was debris on the racetrack, some oil he'd driven through, but the handle's starting to go away on the 49. Last top 5 for Kenny Schrader, Richmond, in the fall of 1998.
I'll tell you what, though, Bill, it's been a great run tonight for that 49 car. From the stretch they went through where they didn't qualify for 2 races, now to be in a position for 2 top 10s in a row.
And Dale Jarrett has moved up to 6th spot. Boy, does he need a caution flag right now to get some of that track position, get him up closer to the front. He can make a run towards a victory.
Well, yeah, you're right, BP. He's about a 1/10 of a second quicker right now, a lap, than all the guys he's trying to run down in front of him.
Check out our race recap at the top of the screen. Caution after caution. Somebody's got to have sore typing fingers up there making that, because we've had 18 caution flags tonight. The high so far this season was 17, done here at Bristol back in March. Jeff Gordon with his fresh tires. Oh, Matt Kenseth in the traffic jam gets Gordon.
Well, there's a caution flag that Jarrett needed, but it certainly wasn't one.
He lifted right in front of me.
That was Matt Kenseth on his team radio. And Jeff Gordon with a beat up front end on his Chevy now.
There's another one, Matt.
Yep.
Looked like Gordon had to lift because Schrader got loose, or what Bill say, he was bad tight off the corner, so maybe Schrader.
Either way, we're a dead duck right here, Robbie. They're going to eat us up. You don't want to come and try to get tires on, do you?
56 laps. If you're worried about it, let's put them on.
Well, I don't know what's going on. That's last time. I don't know how many cars are in the lead lap behind us or what's going on.
13 cars behind us.
Under the 49, that's when Kenseth got in the back of him.
He had a tire going down, Benny. Left front tire going down on the 49.
Okay.
Really? Matt Kenseth. Well, what has been a very difficult last month or so for Jeff Gordon continues tonight here at Bristol. He's finished in the 30s, 3 of the last 4 races.
And the local car, driven by Johnny Sauter, going behind the wall. Marty.
17 on pit road, Benny. He said, I'm fading. I need to do something, Robbie. We're not going to win the race like this. Robbie came on the radio. He said, we're going for the win. 4 tires, pound out of both left side tires for the 17 car. A little bit tight, Bill. Ken Schrader is on pit road. It was a flat right front tire. Right front. They were going to take 4. Just going to take 2 because the guys behind him pitted. He's got the tires. He's on his way.
Jeff Gordon has pulled his car behind the wall. Robbie Loomis said, how does the steering wheel look to see how far it was knocked over? He says the car is junk in the front. They pulled it behind the wall. He says also, I think the radiator's gone as well. They're going to try to pull all the sheet metal off, but it is leaking water. Tough break for Jeff Gordon.
And they've only got 54 laps left in this race to try and get that thing fixed and get back out. Under caution at Bristol.
NASCAR's on the track. Odds are so is Track Pass. Just log on to America Online.
quick than earlier, so this is a softer set. Just like you say, the tires doing more work, not as much spring.
10-4, what place am I in now?
Right.
All right, about 1 to go, 1 to go.
When you go back, when you get the green, buddy.
For one full year. Home Furniture now open in Tacoma, South Center, north of Linwood, and our all-new showroom in Olympia at Martin Way off I-5. There's no place like home.
We come back to Bristol as the green flag comes back out over the Sharpie 500. 51 laps to go. Kurt Busch leading Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman. Dale Jarrett is up to 6th. The guys who stopped under the caution flag, headed by Ken Schrader, restart from 17th on down. Matt Kenseth is 18th.
Well, I think all these caution flag laps have kind of taken the fuel situation right out of the mix.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just a matter of who has the better tires and can get that position in front.
Jeff Gordon behind the wall getting work done on his car. Being dropped down through the standings quickly. Farther back, Matt Kenseth just slipped around Ken Schrader. So Kenseth now the first of the guys who pitted under that caution, and he's in 17th spot.
I think the answer to your question would be Jarrett.
I mean, it looks like he would have the best shot, but he's not making a lot of progress towards these top 5.
They do get tougher to pass as you get farther forward, don't they?
Yes, they do.
In stereo. I'm impressed. I'll tell you what, this has not been a thing of artistic beauty tonight, has it? No. 19 caution flags. 115 of the 453 laps we've run have been behind the pace car. They've been beaten around, they've been spun, they've been banged. But the one thing we haven't seen tonight that we started off talking tonight about were drivers demonstrating their anger. It's been relatively calm where that's concerned. Now, there may be all kinds of shout matches down in the garage when the race is over, but it's been relatively calm on the anger front. Kevin Harvick trying to hang on to Kurt Busch, but Kurt's really gotten away after this restart. Look at the gap.
And that's what those guys were talking about. And Kurt's running some very good laps. Checking our scoring monitor in the booth, and that's what they were talking about. These tires, when you run them, they get hot, they start slowing down. You have a caution flag, they cool down, they're right back where they started. Dave, what they say in the 29 pit?
Well, BP, Kevin complained that he just can't get going on the car. Todd Berry reasoned that, you know, getting a caution every time we get going is what's hurting us right now. They need a long run, Matt.
The problem for the 97 is not fuel or tires. The problem, losing volts. They believe they have a bad alternator. I talked to Mike Kelly, the car chief. They swapped to their backup battery. The extra 32 pounds may mean the difference between winning and losing. He says it hasn't really changed much. Kurt did turn off his cool suit unit to try to save as many volts as possible.
We'll keep an eye on that, see if he starts to lose a little bit of steam here in the closing laps. Matt Kenseth just picking up a couple of more spots. Marty?
I talked to Robbie Reiser about the rationale of pitting under that last caution. Remember, they were running 9th, restarted 18th. They have made up a couple of spots. He said, you know what? We were not going to hold on to 9th where we were, and there's a spin on the track.
Tony Raines gets turned around in turn 2. And the caution flag is out. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, for a record-tying 20th time. That equals the track record for the most yellows of all time in a Winston Cup race here at Bristol. And Tony Raines, who got back on the lead lap after falling behind early in the race with a slow leaking tire, I believe got back around on the lead lap.
Yeah, he did.
Did the leader get us?
20.
He did get us. You're all right.
You're okay. That's right.
But he's mad.
Damn thing just tight to center, Larry. I just can't get going, man. I just kept running over me in the middle.
Come on down pit road. You can quit the yellow. You're going to have to start at the tail end of the longest line.
You know, we keep trying to come back from these commercial breaks in time so we get the restarts. So it left us with a little unfinished business last time.
The Sharpie 500 from
10-4. We just got the volts down to 10 now. When should we switch back to the other battery? I switched it at 11 because the toolbox stopped. It's off again.
Make sure all your stuff is off and switch it again.
You want to go when you get there. Get a truck right on the front straightaway up high. Getting into one.
Not going to go, not going to go. Couldn't get the truck off the track.
You are watching the Sharpie 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway on NASCAR in Car on In Demand.
After starting in 1950
on Labor Day.
On Labor Day.
Not the last Southern 500. The race moves to November.
Well, for me, it won't be the same.
The traditionalist.
Not being on Labor Day.
All right, how about it?
Well, Kurt Busch keeps driving away. Every time they have a restart, he drives away. I think Harvick will be okay if they run the next 37 laps under the green, but will they?
See what kind of start Jamie McMurray gets here, too.
Yeah, here's where Jamie's got to take advantage of it. Harvick saw it coming.
Defense.
He tried his best to get on the inside, could not quite make it.
Out the nose of Jamie McMurray's car.
Our camera still lives. That's amazing. All the 20 caution flags. We've got a camera in the front bumper of the car, and it's still working.
That probably explains why he's in third place.
Now, I said this guy here earlier was pretty fast, and he's pretty fast right now. Jimmy Johnson. His car's working real well. Down on the bottom of the racetrack.
He's got, he can't waste any time getting around McMurray.
No, he's got to use the bumper a little bit. He's going to have to get a little bit of aggressive. Don't you think, Marty?
I agree, Wally. And the other problem for him right now is the fact that it takes a while for his car to come in. They've been better on these longer runs, and that's when you pointed out last time it was towards the end of a run, and that's kind of been the trend for these guys. A little bit tight right now. 48 bucks.
Kind of got them all bottled up there from third place on back. McMurray, Johnson, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett. We have Craven and Earnhardt Jr. in that group. And just behind them, Matt Kenseth has just picked up a couple of more spots on those fresh tires. He's now to 10th. Trying to close in on this group. Jeremy Mayfield will be the next one he has to pass. So another championship charge for Matt Kenseth here tonight. Marty.
To finish what we were saying earlier, Robbie Reiser said we were not going to stay in ninth. We were going to go backwards because the car was just way too tight. So they made an adjustment on that last stop, pound out of both left side tires, and it's really helped the car come around, and those fresh tires are making a difference. See, those drivers do know what they're talking about, right, Wally?
I'll tell you what, they do. These guys are doing a great job. I mean, they just make all the right decisions.
And we talked about during the commercial break, that's one thing, an advantage of having such a huge points lead. He can make decisions like this to go in, change 4 tires instead of just, okay, we got to hang out there and run in the top 10. Try to win this thing.
Working on Dale Jr. That'll be for 8th place. Got him.
No problem.
Boy, he's rolling now.
Well, he can't win unless we have caution flags, 2 or 3 of them, but he can sure get back up in the top 5 before this thing's over.
Working on Ricky Craven for 7th.
And he just passed the guy he's racing for the championship with. Yeah. Right there behind him, Dale Jr.
So Kenseth to 7th now with 27 laps to go. He's 3.5 seconds behind Kurt Busch. He's only about 1/10 of a second a lap faster than Kurt. That math does not add up.
No.
How about Kurt Busch? What a weekend, what a week it's been for him. The aftermath of the confrontation with Jimmy Spencer last weekend, the radio transcripts that came out earlier in the week, and the tale turning on him, if you will, through the week. He came here Friday morning, had a very tense press conference, met with reporters for a little while. And Bill, it's been an amazing week for Kurt Busch, all things considered.
It really has, Alan. In fact, before last weekend, he had promised Matt Kenseth he would go to Oregon, Wisconsin, outside of Madison, to race on the short track at the Madison International Speedway. After the incident on Monday, Kenseth called Busch and said, listen, if you don't feel at all like going, you don't have to go. Busch said, I'm going. He went up there, and driver introductions, 10,000 fans cheered him. When I talked to Busch here on Friday morning, he said, if I'm booed, and they're probably going to boo me, his plan is to walk taller, stand taller, and race harder. And he hopes that pays off tonight.
And they did boo him, but I think if you win here tonight, how can you boo a guy that just won at Bristol for 500 laps?
You can't, but right now he's starting to slow down, and Harvick is catching him. Harvick's faster right now. Matt, something going on with this 97 car?
Well, shades of last year with Tony Stewart trying to turn a bad week into a good one. A lot of conversation, though, on the radio concerning his alternator and losing bolts between Kurt and crew chief Jimmy Finney.
And everything else had to help our battery, so we need stuff off.
Zip 4, I'm leaving the radiator fan on.
All right, that's okay.
He said the volts have already gone down to 10. They have told him turn off everything possible that you can. We're going to try to hold on, less than 20 to go. Hoping to pick up another win here in Bristol, Dave, as the 29 is starting to close.
Guess what, Matt? They know about Kurt's problems, and that's given Kevin more confidence.
But that lap, it seemed like when he turned everything off, he got that juice that he needed, because all of a sudden he ran a faster lap than Harvick.
And it's real important to catch traffic now in your favor. You got to have your spotter up there saying, listen, got to get these guys out of my way, because if I've got to lift just one little bit for a slower car, the guy behind me is going to just pounce.
While you're watching the top two, Matt Kenseth has moved into 5th position around Ryan Newman, and he's trying to close on Jimmy Johnson and take 4th away.
Boy, what a great move that was. Put tires on that car.
Yes, it was.
Outstanding call. Kenseth, last 3 Bristol finishes, 6th, 5th, and 2nd.
And what a pleasure these cars are to drive when they're so much faster than everyone else and they stink.
Yeah, see how easy it is to pass those guys? That's what tires.
I love this, he said. I love this.
He'll have a big smile when he gets out tonight. He won't be one of the angry guys. Yeah.
That's right.
And you know, great point was just brought up to me too. We're not talking fuel mileage at the end of a race.
Amen.
We're out there talking put tires on, charge through the field. Kind of like it used to be. Not all that long ago. So Kenseth now up to 4th place, trying to catch Jamie McMurray ahead of him for 3rd. Meantime, Kurt Busch hoping the battery voltage holds out. His advantage over Kevin Harvick pretty stable at about a 2nd.
Yeah, like I said, the traffic is the most important thing right now, is to catch the traffic right.
Kurt Busch's last 3 finishes here at Bristol. A win, a 6th, and a win. Trying to make it 3 out of 4. If he can take his sponsor's race.
See how Stewart moved up the racetrack? Yeah. Perfect. That's what you want the guys to do that aren't racing for the lead.
And naturally, the fastest car in the top 10, Matt Kenseth.
Harvick not making up any ground right now. 10 to go for Kurt Busch. There's McMurray, and here comes Kenseth.
He might be able to get the 3rd spot, talking about Matt Kenseth.
Yeah. Hey, if we were to see a caution here and get a single file restart, boy, would that get interesting. It'd have to be a quick caution, though. The cutoff lap, the point at which NASCAR would use the red flag in order to try and get a green flag, finishes lap 495. And we're only laps away from that as Kurt Busch crosses the stripe. Working on Robbie Gordon, who's had a tough night. Been behind the wall on 2 different occasions. Brake problems early that involved in a crash. Robbie running 35th, 108 laps down to Kurt Busch.
And not having a whole lot of fun.
Making laps.
Say what, Harvick has fallen back off of Kurt Busch now, and he's fallen into the clutches of Jamie McMurray and Matt Kenseth. So Kenseth may have a shot at getting as high as second in this thing. Look at him closing in.
Yep. Gaining quick.
If the voltage holds up for Kurt Busch, the race is going to be for second. 5 laps to go.
It is going to be interesting to see how the crowd reacts.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think, a guy who wins at Bristol, drives his butt off for 500 laps. How can you boo that guy?
You need to stand up and cheer because he did a great job.
Kenseth on McMurray.
McMurray's going to have to make that thing real wide. I don't think he can make it that wide.
No, I don't think he can either.
3 laps to go. Lap traffic ahead. Todd Bodine's car damaged in an early crash. All that's going on. It's racing for second and third. Kurt Busch down to his final couple of circuits around Bristol. Looking for his 4th win of 2003. You know, we said it before, but it is worth repeating. What a week it's been. And what a way to try and get things back on track where your racing is concerned. All the off-track items have been a distraction, but he's come out tonight, put it all aside, and driven a very hard race. Final corner. And we'll see what kind of reception.
Good job, Kurt. Good job.
Kurt Busch, you want it on the stage. Kurt Busch. Good job, guys. Awesome.
Thanks, guys. I owe it to you for sticking behind me. I'll do it for you any day.
All the time, all the time.
Well, Jimmy Fennick, his crew chief, talked with me this morning about what it's been like for his race team during the week. Matt, it turned out as good as it possibly could have for them today.
Jimmy, what composure this team has shown all weekend long. Congratulations.
I'll tell you, this team's a tough team. I'm really happy with them. Kurt Busch, he's awesome. What more can you say about Kurt? You know, I know Kurt feels really bad about Sterling. He didn't mean to do it. You know, like I say, Kurt went through a tough week and he come out strong, and he's a tough guy.
How nervous for you, though, the volt's going down?
Oh, yeah. Well, the alternator went out, so we're a little nervous, but our guys back home, they do an awesome job for repairing these cars, and thank God we got 2 batteries.
Kurt Busch rolling into the winner's circle with his 3rd Bristol win in the last 4 races and his 8th NASCAR Winston Cup victory. Bill?
Well, Kurt Busch is made to ride into victory lane. You heard him thank his crew. You know he is wondering about the reception he's about to receive from 164,000 fans here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Won here in April, came here after the difficult week that Alan described, came here confident he could defend or sweep the races here at Bristol this season, and he did that. Certainly some moments in the race that we'll have to discuss. But right now, he's going to celebrate his 4th win of the season and the Bristol sweep. You know he has to be hot and tired in that car. Wally talked in the pre-race show about how hard it is to make 500 laps here.
And remember, Billy had to turn off the cool suit and all that to save the electronic voltage, too. So
exactly right.
Last chunk of the race, he didn't have his cooling aids.
He talked to the media first thing here on Friday morning at 9:15. He will address them again in a few minutes, but this time he will go in as winner of the Sharpie 500. Accepting congratulations in the car. And here he comes. Let's listen. Kurt Busch, the winner of the Sharpie 500. We talked first thing on Friday when you got here. I'm sure this conversation is a lot more pleasant. Congratulations on your Bristol sweep.
Thank you, Bill. I can't mention any of my sponsors or any of my people or anything before I apologize for Sterling Marlin. I got into him, and it was a place where he was trying to let me go, and I was trying to get into one and set him up and get underneath him out of two. So apologize to Sterling. I didn't mean to do that, and that somewhat overshadows this. Obviously, the probation does, but this was a night for Sharpie. They signed on for this race. This is their race. They're sponsors of this for 3 more years, and I'm sponsoring this car. I want to race this car. I want to do anything that I can to help this team and get behind them and do what I've got to do to be competitive.
How tough was this week?
This is by far the biggest win. I don't know whether to enjoy it, what to do with it right now. This beats all of my wins. It's so sweet to come here with all the hype and all the things that were going on this week to drag me down, all the tabloids. The things that I was trying to stay focused on were the race car, and I think I got the job done there.
Obviously, you heard the reception at driver introductions, a mixed reception here in Victory Lane, Kurt.
Yeah, Dale Sr. told me the guy that's got the most noise wins. You know, the crowd here will envelope you and circumference you and let you know how they feel, that's for sure. That's what Bristol's all about. And the group here, you know, there's a bunch of them that are screaming, there's a bunch of them that are crying. My boys behind me, this is what matters, and my sponsors, Ford, Sharpie, the whole bunch at Newell Rubbermaid, Coca-Cola Craft, all the guys that helped me out. It's just a blast to drive this car and to put this behind us.
You thanked your crew on the radio for sticking with you.
They've been supporters just from no end. I mean, there's been so much going on this week, and I don't know really what to say or what was going on through their minds at all, but they're a group that smiles all the time. They're never going to get up. And I'm just glad that we can bring it home to Victory Lane.
You started your week in the media center. Now you will go end it there.
It was great. You know, I came here because I love this place, and I said that on Friday. I love this place. Sorry what happened last week with the way that everything went. We're in Victory Lane now. We get to celebrate.
You think Chris Trickle is smiling somewhere, Kurt?
He for surely is. I wouldn't have had this opportunity if it wasn't. My old car owner from Southwest Tours here tonight from Star Nursery, and all the people that have helped me from Las Vegas. You know, there's been some rough beginnings there as well with the racetrack, with some competitors, and I just tried to be smooth and not to get into anybody at all. And it's just, I tried to stay a step ahead to Sterling Marlin, and he was trying to let me go, and I accidentally got into him.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Bill.
Kurt Busch in Victory Lane at Bristol. Dave?
Standing by with second place finisher Kevin Harvick. And Kevin, I can't believe I'm talking to you again this week about being close here at Bristol. What was wrong with the car at the end?
We just couldn't get going on the restarts. You know, GM Goodwin's car was really good all night. We just, you know, for 4, 5, 6 laps, really had a tough time. It felt like all the tires were flat and just couldn't get going. Hate losing to Rubberhead, but you know, I think he's learning what being a butthole will get you when you win the race, and everybody's in here booing for you. So good night for the GM Goodwin's car.
Kevin, during the race earlier, your car was so good. I mean, do you have any idea why it fell off?
It didn't really fall off. It just, for some reason, things, whether it was the 2 tires or we had too much air in the tires and they were sliding across the racetrack, just fell off a little bit there. And I think there were several cars that did that. I know the 24 fell off quite a bit, but 97 had a hold of the racetrack all night and beat us.
All right, Marty?
Well, Matt Kenseth, the car was awesome on new tires. Had you stopped one caution earlier, could you have caught the leaders?
I think we could have. We just ran out of time. So it was a great job of my DeWalt guys. We had a great handling car tonight when we needed it. You know, on old tires, they weren't any good. And, you know, I kind of wanted to pit the time before, and we kind of talked it back and forth and decided to stay out. And we really should have pitted. We probably would have had a shot at the win, but it was great to come back and finish 4th. The only damper of the day is, you know, I wrecked Jeff Gordon's day, and, you know, I feel so terrible about that. I moved over, actually let him go and get out of his way, and we got bunched up with another car, and he got out of gas, and I ran him over. So I feel terrible about that. I know there's nothing I can do to fix his day back for him, but kind of wrecks the whole day for us. But it was a good job for my team.
Championship leader steams on towards New York, Matt.
Ryan Newman fought back from the 32nd position. What a run tonight for you and this team, Ryan.
Yeah, no doubt a good run for the Altel Dodge. I mean, our best finish here at Bristol. Good for the points, good for the team for sure, especially getting spun out twice. I mean, our front bumper was pretty clean all night. Typical deal for us at Bristol. We got a beat-in rear bumper, but just glad to finish as well as we did. Matt and the guys did an awesome job. Awesome pit stop, so that's about all it.
Comes home 6th tonight in Bristol.
Here's how they ran in the Sharpie 500. Kurt Busch with the 13th season sweep here at this racetrack.
And Jarrett got up to the 7th spot, could not go any further with those 2 tires.
Yeah, I was just going to say McMurray hung on to 3rd spot with Kenseth behind him with new tires.
Nice top 10 for Jeremy Mayfield. Much needed there. Ken Schrader got shuffled back to 12th. And final on the lead lap was Greg Biffle in 22nd. Jeff Gordon 28th. After the tangle with Matt Kenseth, another kink in his championship bid. And the standings, Matt Kenseth gaining more. It was 329, it's 351 now as we head to Darlington next weekend, and the race for the championship continues. Next Saturday on NBC, 2 Eastern, NASCAR Busch Series racing from Darlington. Next Sunday, the Mountain Dew Southern 500 at 12:30 Eastern. What a wild night at Bristol. 20 caution flags, and Kurt Busch ends up in victory lane.
Come on down.